There we go. Come on in, everyone. There we go. Take a few slow breaths. Seriously, take a few slow breaths. Allow yourself to kind of, relax into the current moment. I want to start out by saying, hopefully, my audio is working. Put a strange series of numbers in the chat. Preferably not any personal data, unless you want to share that with everyone out there. But yeah, let me know if you guys can hear me. And greetings. I think wait, here we go. Ready? It's 2025. And today we're going to be using public radio speaker voice. But welcome, you guys. We made it. I think this is our first live stream of the year 2025. So, as they say, start it 2025. And a lot of things are kicking off. It's an exciting and wild time. And there's kind of a couple things I want to talk about here today, and a couple things I don't know. Maybe I won't even mention it. I'm not sure, but wherever you are in the world, please let me know. What is your current location? Give us a little bit of a sit rep. What city and state are you currently residing in? I've said it in the past. Maybe what planet are you currently stationed at? Where are you in the overall multidimensional neighborhood? We are out here, as you guys have already heard, and welcome everyone. I see you there. Over here on the western coast of Florida, it's pretty much freezing, um, which is kind of a big deal. You know what I mean? That's how it was when I lived on the other coast too. You know what I mean? But I mean, it seems like a bigger deal here. People seem a little bit, but it is. It's cold. Well, it's just cold as hell. I don't know. Maybe that's the right choice of terms. I say, they say if you use a cuss word in the first like 2 minutes of your YouTube video, like it won't. Our videos already don't get recommended to anyone, so anyway, not that it matters, but so yeah, where are we out there in the world? What's up? How's it going, everybody? We got Aurora Diamond Heart rolling through. Kelly Dolan mentioned something about THX 1138, which is unofficially and officially probably damn near one of my favorite movies of all time, next to Repo Man. Seriously, literally, as I rain ash all over myself. But yeah, man, THX 1138, brilliant. It represents a legitimate other timeline in which, humankind has been somewhat, we could say, assimilated by this AI framework that has sort of worked its way into, literally the physical bodies of literally everyone. It's such a fascinating movie. Anyway, yeah, it's wild. It's good to see everybody here. Who's here from? Oh, here we go. Sonia Galactic. How's it going? Phoenix, Arizona. Nice. I probably said this last time I was here. Back in the day. Whoa, I'll date myself. 1993, I think. No, before that. Oh Lord, 89. Yeah. Anyway, a long time ago, I used to live in Phoenix, Arizona, but that's irrelevant right now. I'll feel pretty old. I guess it is though. Now, you guys, it is official. Oh, Jason H is 20 Fahrenheit. Okay, so you're on it. You guys are having real weather. I mean, like 48 degrees, which for some people, like in the like northern states, that's like shorts weather. Where you're chilling outside on the porch or whatever. But for over here, it's like extreme. It's extreme. It kind of puts me in this weird like anger. This is dumb, but I'm being authentic. It puts me in this weird sort of anger where I'm like, fuck, you know what I mean? I can't, oh, there you go. I used the cuss word in the first few minutes. Anyway, well, too late now. Pack it up, everybody. But anyway, Kelly Dolan's live from Sebastopol, California. How's it going? We got Kathy Phillips. Oh, Louisville, Kentucky. Okay. One of my fondest memories from the stage of my life when we used to do touring and I was in a band was playing in Bowling Green, Kentucky, which for anyone that's been there, it's like, what? What were you what were you doing playing a show in Bowling Green, Kentucky? But it was somehow we were there and it was amazing. It was just one of those ones where obviously I'm still talking about it 20 something years later, so it's like we must have did something right, but it was a fun place. John Kin's out there. England is caked in snow. Yeah, you know what? I honestly, and you guys have heard me say this. I wouldn't know what to do. I've been like a permanently hot weather person my whole life. If you throw me in, probably in the desert, maybe even in the Middle East, and I know it gets way hotter there, but if you were to put me in the desert, I feel like I would have a stronger chance at survival than if you were to put me up in like the far northern reaches of like Canada. Meanwhile, White Swan's gonna go, you feel free to laugh, Canadians. But no, really, I feel like I would fare better there, like in 139 degrees Fahrenheit. I could figure it out. It'll suck, trust me. But the cold, it's not has not been my experience. But you guys have heard me say that before. We got Sober Dawn out here in North Arkansas. What's happening, Mr. Rogers? Alberta, Canada. Yeah, I have no idea what it's like. It's like I'm over here talking about cold weather, and you guys are like, we eat cold weather, we shit cold weather. It's nothing. You know what I mean? It's like, and I'm over dramatizing it in a needless way, but some people are cool like that. You guys can handle it. I genuinely admire those. Dane is live from Wisconsin. It's good to see him. What's up, Angel Wings? Thank you for being here. Thanks for being a member. I sincerely apologize that there's very little value involved in that. I'm gonna be real, you guys. We might even end the YouTube membership thing because, uh, like, you don't really actually get anything from it. I'm being totally real. Like, maybe once every 3 months or so, I'll get, like, there's just a very, like maybe $66 or something like that. It's very strange. I might not have my monetization optimized, but let's be real. Most of my videos aren't even monetized. That said, one of the points I mentioned in the description of today's video was kind of a funny one. One of those ones you can only laugh at. What's up, Tiffany? How's it going? um like, honestly, you can literally only laugh at it, and this is how wild it's got to be an AI thing, okay? Because what I have been noticing over just the past couple weeks, days, all of a sudden YouTube will just come through my channel, and they literally take, like, I think the first day was like 140, or I don't know what it was. I might have talked about it last time we were actually on here live, or I meant to talk about it last time we were here, but um it was like literally overnight. They take like 100 or so, which is nothing for those of you guys with bigger channels. You're like, whatever, bro. But for someone over here at the formerly multidimensional trailer park, now we have a very temporary kiosk. As you guys have seen, we're set up at the AI vaporware dead mall dimension, easily accessible, which is where you are right now. So you made it there, but they've been taking mass amounts of subscribers from our channel. And so I say this right now, just check if you are a subscriber to this channel. I know this is such a common line, right? So many people, how many times have you heard this on YouTube? Check and see if you're still subscribed, because literally, I think maybe 1 or 2 days ago, I never look at the YouTube studio thing. I really, I'm just being real. I don't. There's no news on there for me. You know what I mean? Our numbers are like, but I happened to look on there, and it was like the day prior to that, it was like 458 people had been unsubscribed from this channel overnight. And so a part of me I assume it's got to be like AI bots. To me, it's got to be, because I don't see any. It doesn't make real, like, logical sense. Not that anything needs to be logical anymore to be true or real, but it really does. It's kind of one of those, like, huh? Because a couple of days before, there was like 170 something or 40, whatever it was, a large number. And so it's definitely true when they say you get targeted by some kind of AI algorithm, or some kind of bot sweeps through and just reduces stuff. It's very interesting to watch that happen. um I would say, honestly, in the scope of everything, like I just said, it's a thing that you'll choose to laugh at. It's a thing that you'll sort of look at and go, all right, like, cool, but yeah, if you are a subscriber, please do check that out. You can hit the like button and show the AI algorithm that you're in approval. of this completely organically created video that's live from the astral realm, just click the like button, and if you can, subscribe. So yeah, we got it's a very, 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 very interesting hit. What's up, Andromeda? I'm an old subscriber. Thank you for hanging out with us over here. It's very, very interesting. It's an interesting and fickle algorithm. For those of you guys that were here last time, you might have heard me, or maybe it was when I was on Typical Skeptic podcast. I'm not sure, but I had made this statement about how maybe it's time to do. And for those of you guys out there that need to hear me say this, I'll preface this with, yes, I'm joking, because I've had people message me on Facebook. One of the reasons why I don't really respond on Facebook anymore is because it's sort of like the holding ground for like just the nonsensical, bizarre questions that I'll get, which at a time, I had talked about, some AI stuff, and people would message me and say, do you really, are you really astral, projecting into an AI, this or that? Like, don't you know the hazards? And I'm like, no, it's a joke. It's a joke. But I had made a statement about how maybe we need to do a ritual to the AI, you know, digital algorithmic gods, that, monitor, the YouTube, live stream system. And if we do so, I think what it will look like is that scene in Office Space. You guys know, because we talked about this last time, and I'm inserting this into the collective consciousness. That's why we're bringing it up again, because maybe we should do this on this channel where we go get this, what was it, like mid 90s era laser printer? It was a laser printer. We'll take it out in a field and we'll just smash it, total Office Space style. I don't think we'll be able to play the music because you know what I mean. It's like, there you go. There's the AI algorithm. They'll be like, oh, he's playing copyrighted rap music from the 90s, probably explicit lyrics. You know what I mean? Boom. And it's like, they'll probably take it down. But, but hold on a second. But hold on. But what if? You guys, I know some of you guys, I know there's like a 12-second delay. So you're going to pick up the telepathic message and you're going to already know it. Well, I guess 12 seconds. So, I'm 12 seconds ahead of you, which is interesting when you think about it. It's sort of like a time loop. But what if it actually worked? Think about it for a second. Think about it. And I know we did something similar to this last time. What would what would happen if it actually worked? What sort of changes might take place? You know what I mean? Maybe we could get on X.com. Notice I call it X and not Twitter. And because you can use the X AI. What's it called? Grok. You can talk to. What a stupid name, right? I'm sorry. It's just like, really, Elon, bro. You call really? Okay. Anyway, you can talk to the Grok AI for free now on Twitter, and so I would propose to. Oh, I said it. Anyway, X.com. And so I would propose for anyone out there who's really good with X, who's like into that, ask the Grok AI if that would be a benevolent action. And maybe this is something we could even do on this live stream. If 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 this live stays up, if let's say if this live gets more than, oh, I don't want to put a viewer number on it because I'll just embarrass myself. But let's just say if this gets a untold number of likes, we will do a live stream where I screen share and we go on Grok and we ask it about like what is what is the efficacy or the success rate of doing a 1990s printer's sacrifice to the YouTube AI algorithmic gods, and just see what it says. Maybe they'll be like, actually, who knows? Anyway, we're going to do it. I want to see 500 likes on this video. We'll never get there. I don't think I've ever had a. Anyway, maybe I'll do it. Maybe I'll do it. What's up, Terry? Andromedan says he wants to colonize Venus. Why not? Although, honestly, by my understanding, and this is just my understanding, I want everyone to check in on this because we are going to do a little bit of a similar thing to what we did. I don't know, was it a week ago or more? My concept of time is horrible. To me, it was last week that we did a live, but I think if you go by traditional Earth-based dating systems, it might have been longer. However, having said that, we're going to look at a couple little images. We're going to look at a couple little things that are going on because, I mean, 2025 started out very, very interestingly, right? I think the last time we were here, we were just kind of coming out of the sort of the mystery drone mind virus distractionary wave, and that's kind of evolved and changed over the past couple of weeks. And now, you know for those of you guys that have been following, the stories on this, whether it be through the so-called mass media or even through the kind of like the intricate underbelly of YouTube, you'll notice, I mean, just a wild and crazy variance and all the stories and all the explanations, and especially among all of the remote viewers, because everyone's like a professional remote viewer now, right? And as long as you have big numbers on your channel, you can say anything is remote viewed, and 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 there we go. Enough people will believe it. But there's an interesting phenomenon that we are viewing happening, that I would like to call attention to with respect to the manner in which so many people over a much larger community are remote viewing very, very different or sometimes contradictory things with respect to stuff like the mystery drone phenomenon. And that has to do with one of the things that's taking place on a larger level throughout our so-called dimensional framework, or what we call reality, the sort of stream of time that we live in and out of, and kind of, all kind of bump up against each other and connect and, intersect throughout the days. And we are living in the time on Earth right now. And some of you have heard me say this before, but there has never been a better example. Well, there have been, but this is a good example of the phenomenon of a multitude of contradicting and very real streams of reality that are all clashing and coinciding in the now moment. One of the reasons why you guys are not seeing, every single person's remote viewing prophecy come true, and everyone pushes the goalpost back, and this guy over here says this version, and so over there says that version. One of the reasons why we're not seeing a concrete explanation from any area in any kind of school of thought, or you know what I mean, like social group or whatever, has to do not necessarily because people are not perceiving truth, but because, number one, we are in such a powerful stage of co-creation, whereas we are still deciding. And one of the things that takes place during this stage is that there's going to be many people believing in a number of timelines at the same time. And so you're going to see people viewing very real different versions of reality all in the same moment. And because we haven't really, agreed or co-created the next movement, because there's so much competing and clashing like information and so many highly crystallized, we could call them belief systems, because everyone's activating, everyone's a psychic now too. And one of the byproducts of that is that the power and strength of our emotions and the conviction that we hold, the fire within us, is now like penetrating everyone else's energy field. And so the more passionate we are about a stream of reality, the more likely it is that when you enter that state of internal viewing, you're going to be given the version of reality that is contained within your emotional body. And so I know I'm kind of moving quickly here, but what I'm pointing to is one of the reasons why no one's able to make sense of reality in the moment is because truly reality is different for everyone that's viewing it, which is an amazing thing. I don't hear enough people talking about it when they talk about the concept of true multidimensionality. If you're wondering, how might we define such a thing? How would we view what you call the experience of multidimensionality in our lifetime through what we're having right now? This is it. Everyone will view a different version of something, and none of them will be true. None of them, which is wild. So it's okay. It's okay if you're a professional remote viewer and none of your prophecies have come true. Look, David Wilcock's been doing it for a while. What, since 1980, whatever? I'm joking on that one. I'm totally joking, but I think that's why we are at the stage right now where I think one of the greatest things we can do is continue to ground and refine and strengthen the human container as what we would call the conductor for what is really truth. And a couple weeks back, we did maybe more than that. We did a little bit of a talk about, where's the sense for truth contained within the body when we're going on a quest of trying to understand what's actually real and what's fake. And I'm going to recap it here. No, I'm not going to bring in a bunch of slides, but for those of you guys that are doing work in your own way and you're starting to notice how everyone that you watch within the realm of YouTube that's helping you dictate your reality, you'll realize after a while, if you hang out in these spiritual communities long enough, you'll eventually go like, huh, I've been here for a while, and actually none of what any person has said has actually come true. Like none of the larger set pieces, right? The big ET ship still didn't show up, no one knows what the little ones are, you know what I mean? Everything is still a big question. Every day is still another unfolding kind of piece in the overall, jigsaw puzzle of this reality that we're putting together. I think the way in which we will continue to understand what is true for ourselves is through the purification and the strengthening of the physical body. And so I do have a question for you guys in the chat. Um, do you have a New Year's resolution? I know that's a cringe thing. It's cringe, right? It's like, "What? Oh, dude, that's so lame, man." But no, no, really, do you? Because this, regardless of whether you buy into such things, we're at an opportunistic cycle to begin a path of highly, highly motivated individuation from herd beliefs, societal values, standards of behavior that you've come to accept as normalized over the past few years. If there was ever a time that we were entering in which we had an opportunity to completely destroy those things, it's literally right now. For me, I'll just say and this is not a New Year's resolution. I don't know, because well, honestly, it was a thing I started working on, I would say about October. I want to say about October, but I went through a really big detox phase. I could just feel like a lot of gallstone movement. I'll just be real and vulnerable on that. It's a genetic factor in my family. I'm one of the only people that still has a gallbladder, and I just got all kinds of gallstone activity. And man, I had like this dental infection at the time, and I went on some antibiotics. And it honestly about like I'd say late September was right before it kicked off, and it just ruined me. I got so toxified from it, and it kicked me into this 10-day fast where I think a lot of you guys might have done a live, or we did some Patreon meetings around that time, and it kicked me into this 10-day fast once again, which I've talked about in other shows and other time periods. It's a good thing to do. But and this is maybe the third or fourth time I've mentioned this now, but probably one of the greatest things I did at that stage was begin to prioritize physical fitness and just the health of the physical body above everything else in my life. And I know that sounds like overly like idealistic and weird, or like, what's the word, emphatic, like in a way, like needlessly. But I'll just be real, I got to that stage, and a lot of you guys are past my age, some of you guys are a lot younger than me, but as you hit your mid 40s, for those of you guys that have already passed it, you'll probably agree with me, and for those of you guys that are about to hit it, you'll see soon. It was definitely the first decade in which I was like, whoa, things aren't working right. There's body pain, there's toxicity buildup from multiple decades. And so, anyway, the long story short is I'm continuing to walk probably about, we're doing between, I'm going to add it up properly, 24 to 30 miles a week. And I'm still wearing the 18.8-pound weighted vest. Just did it earlier today. But I encourage you guys, like, if you've been noticing that your body has been holding a really weird amount of stagnant, bloated, inflamed weight, and let's say you've been working out, let's say you've been, getting more physical, let's say you were detoxing, there's a bunch of things. Because I've been doing a lot of that, and I had just noticed that I had been just this weird layer of like toxic fluid was gathering in my body. A lot of it, I think, has to do for me with just kind of like genetic, like gallbladder and liver factors and a number of other behavioral stuff from like other periods of my life. But um, anyway, I will cut to the chase, like the end of it. As I continued to carry that weight day after day and walking like literally miles, and sometimes it's like literally 90 degrees out there. Sometimes like today it was 60, which is not that bad. But it's interesting to note, and maybe this is a phenomenon that happens, but I noticed in the process of doing so, I actually lost the exact amount of weight that I've been carrying. Literally, right around 18 to 20 pounds. It was like the amount that I had been like putting on my body was the amount that my body actually was burning as I was going through this process. I know for other people, they're going to know, that's like old news to them, maybe. Maybe everyone knows this. Maybe I would just had that discovery, but I was like, whoa, it's wild to see that over the past few months, as I've been following this thing, I actually lost the amount of weight that I've been carrying. And so, anyway, I encourage you guys to do that. If you've been just carrying around a lot of toxic weight, I think 2025 is a good year for you to and it doesn't have to be like walking. I live in an area where it's really easy for me to kind of walk in the, not country, but there's not that many people out here, so it's not a big deal. Clearly, however you do it, is going to be up to you. And maybe that's not the message that you were thinking you were going to hear today. But honestly, if you've been wondering why certain abilities or elements of clarity or channels of communication, or let's say you've been doing all kinds of self work and you've been working with your emotional body all 2024 and you've been purging out all kinds of emotions, and let's say let's say you even have been doing qigong, or maybe you've been doing yoga, or maybe you've been just really trying to break through to another stage of the journey, and you're wondering why hasn't this aspect of my intuitive sense kicked off yet? Yes, you know where I'm going. I think that that's the other side of the pyramid for a lot of us right now. And I know this is the case. For those of you guys that have read my book, I talked about how one of the early stage observations that I had made was when I would go to conferences and I would watch these really big, famous professional psychics over the years, and I literally watched how they deteriorated. And it's like and I'll just say it, it's like people kind of became mutated, and they pick up these, autoimmune disorders, and like all of a sudden they randomly get cancer, and knock on wood, that's one of the byproducts for people that work with energy on a professional level, meaning where you're constantly exchanging and absorbing and working with other people's energy. Those are the byproducts of that. And I think also one of the byproducts of continual dissociation or connecting outside of the physical body, which, like it or not, that's what we do as professional psychics. It doesn't mean you're leaving your body. It means that you become a professional in connecting with the non-physical elements. And there's an interesting thing that occurs. There is somewhat of a physical atrophy that takes place. You know what I mean? I know a lot of you guys have seen this, and it was one of the things that I noticed very, very early on, and it was something that honestly kind of freaked me out. I watched people that I was very close to, honestly. I'm not here to name names and do like, pointing fingers thing, but I watched people very, very close to me go through a very distinct physical degradation process due to just being completely lost and immersed and, essentially within the astral. And it was a thing that kind of left its mark on me. So anyway, we're starting off 2025 with an awkward message. Just my prayer is this is the year it's gonna get physical. And I mean, you are gonna get physical. And what's the other, there's always a little hitch along with that. Why am I saying this also? Because beginning at the end of the month, we're going to be doing a regular monthly qigong, kind of a warm up, a little bit of a routine in the Blue Flame Collective Patreon group. We meet for the tier 2 members. We meet pretty much the last Sunday of the month. I've noticed we're kind of keeping it regular, the last Sunday of the month. And we're going to be doing a qigong body clearing and also our energy clearing together. And so if you've been looking for a way in which you can start to get a little bit more physical, maybe you're not going to be super obsessive like me and Maybe you're not going to start carrying this ridiculously weighted, like ballistic vest through the sun in, Central Florida. Because I mean, I'm like crazy enough to do it, but there's not that many people around, so it doesn't really matter. But maybe you've been looking for a method in which you can start to open up your physical body for the purpose of being able to sense and feel non-physical energy on a greater level. Like I said, a lot of us are coming to the stage where it's like, there's work you need to do. You know that you have abilities. If you've been attracted to this channel right now, if you're one of the people that ends up finding this now or in the future, you are exactly the type of person that I'm talking to, because the people that will find this channel are inevitably those who are on some kind of a path to unlocking or understanding your intuitive abilities. And so maybe you've been going like, well, how can I open up the fascia? How can I open up the meridian body, so that I can sense those energies on a deeper level? You guys know the story. I'm not going to go there over and over again, but it's Qigong. And so we're doing it in the Blue Flame Collective. And I would love to see a few of you guys there. Thanks, White Swan. You read my mind. We're in super rant mode today. So I'm just talking incessantly about a couple of things. Luckily, I did have them preloaded before I came in here. That's probably why. So I knew what we were going to be talking about. But anyway, for me, this is a year of I'm just making this year about the physical body, physical fitness, detoxing, opening up the fascia, continuing with some qigong and stuff. So find us over at patreon.com/blue flame collective. And a lot of you guys know this, but we have two tiers. In the $10 tier, we do readings. We do our official reading group every month, where if you're watching this and you're here to get a reading tonight, which we are going to do readings, don't worry, I promise. But maybe you've come to this channel and you've been like, man, I actually do deeply enjoy those readings and I would like to be able to get one. And sometimes a lot of people show up and I don't get chosen. As I'm kind of shooting myself in the foot, because one day there will be too many people. But honestly, you can join Patreon for $10 and come to our monthly meeting and you will get a reading, absolutely guaranteed. And yes, sometimes the meetings are 3.5 hours long. Although lately they've been around like just under 3, I would say, which is kind of what I expect. But literally everybody gets a reading. So that's tier 1, and then tier 2, which is $20. We also do the energy clearing, which it's still going. It's still going somehow after all these years. I always kind of like trip out on that. I'm going to be real. If you're one of the members of the Patreon group, thank you for being a part of that strange family. One of my vulnerable things is I always go like, "Whoa, really? Oh shit, people are still going." Wow, okay. Seriously, because I'm like, there's not too many things in this world that I have been that consistent with, and for some reason we keep going. I don't know how. Anyway, what's up? Welcome, Healing. She says, yes, that is so true. I've seen several people I know personally that are psychics who have been suffering specter autoimmune stuff. Totally. I am not familiar with that term, but somehow it makes sense. And yeah, no, it is. It is like energies build up within the body. Yes, there's specific chakras that you can work with to deliberately drain other people's energy. I think, and this is the foolhardy thing to say, I'm crossing my fingers and knocking on wood. I'm doing this publicly, okay? I sometimes think, cross your fingers with me, guys. I sometimes think that's why I have been spared from what I have seen a lot of the toxicity that, excuse me, I've been spared from a lot of the toxicity that I've seen other people take on. I do believe that part of that is because I am so obsessed with doing qigong, and because I kind of do treat every session like a clearing that I'm doing with myself, which is kind of one of the, I don't know, maybe that's a secret, maybe it's not a secret. I think most of you guys that do, energy healing, with people, and I guess I'm not supposed to say that word, energy clearing with people, you as you do so, it's like you're treating that person as yourself. And for some reason, I feel that there has been a little bit of a layer of protection for me within that. Yet I also have to admit, at the same time, I think because of the layer of protection and kind of unwillingness to like connect with, different forces or different types of energy, I think we have also paid a price and stayed a little bit contained. So I don't know, maybe for some people it's a trade-off. I'm not sure. But anyway, join us in the Patreon group if you would like to be there. I think this month reading group is next Saturday. I should know the date. I should have had it preloaded, given I actually thought of a couple things. I actually brought a couple of things we're going to talk about here today. But anyway, let's check your comments. I'm talking at an epic rate here. Thanks, welcome healing. I appreciate you. Angel Wing says, I remove all their attachments through me because of my higher dimensional protection. Honestly, I think that's a smart way to do it. Honestly, if it works for you, I am all for it. I think that there is a uniqueness of method that the more that you can personalize and work within your understanding and what you see works, I believe that that's true brilliance when it comes to working with energy. Thanks, White Swan. Maybe it is. Sometimes I think it's like both my biggest wound and also my greatest skill. It's like both at the same time. Anyway, what's up, goldfishy pick frames? I spent a lot of my younger years learning how to work the body for its improvement, body mechanics, and proper body movement. Looking forward to hearing about your experience. I'm glad you got it in your younger years. A lot of you guys know this, or some of you guys don't. If you read the book, we definitely talk about it. And it's funny because I think I'm called to write about it more at a later stage of the human journey. But yeah, my younger years were spent on just entirely in an extreme degradation, psychotic addiction, like just, oh Lord. I've said this before. I think I came into this world with what we call a soul level attachment of a certain type that came in the form of extreme drug addiction very early on. It taught me a lot. Taught me a lot. Taught me so much. I do believe it was one of the primary gateways toward getting into what it is that we do now. It's like some people call it, the path of the wounded healer, if you want to go there. But I think for a lot of us that do become, if you want to call it a professional mystic or an intuitive or a person that works with non-physical energy, it usually does come at the cost of a period of your life where you have to endure, whether it be self-made suffering through, a path of, some type of addiction or extreme trauma. And, I had a number of those, like everyone here, nothing, but it's certainly it's an interesting path. White Swan says, do you ever have dream experience where you get super high, like it feels so real? I can tell you that last year, wow, that was last year. And honestly, White Swan, you and I spoke around that time. I remember this because this is around the time when you told me about black seed oil. Thank you for that. I literally still take it. But right around that time, I was going through, I think, a really big detox from weed. And for some reason, it had been the first time I had stopped smoking in a really long time. And for those of you guys that have done that, it's like there's certainly a physical detox. You will definitely go through it. One of the things I experienced at that stage was that I did have a couple dreams. Well, maybe not a couple. There's one that I know for sure that I definitely had. Maybe other times it was just a feeling, but I definitely had a dream where I was like back in the 90s and I was trying to find drugs everywhere. And for those of you guys that have been through cycles of addiction like that, you've probably had those drug dreams where it's like you're always right about to, you get like, oh, and it's like you never actually get it, and so I definitely had one of those dreams, which was wild. And I'll be real, it's like, when you're going through that detox phase and, deep within the fascia, your cells, and it's like it just comes out, man. It was wild. It was wild. At that stage, honestly, it's funny. That was actually the stage I would say where I started getting kind of obsessive about working out again. And I guess we're talking about physical stuff today. Sorry, guys. But yeah, that was actually the stage where I was like, "This kind of works. I sort of feel better." And so I just went on this like manic, like, "I have to keep walking. I have to keep doing this. I have to keep lifting this weight." Not for any reason other than just I was like, "Okay, I sort of feel normal." And so here we are, um, a while later. And anyway, that's it. Drug residue burning off. A lot of us go through that in this community. I think I saw Unveiling Addiction in here earlier. She stopped by earlier, but I think it's one of the kind of the unspoken maladies of the star seed that gets very little acknowledgement by an overall community, because I think there's like still a big wave of kind of collective shame that people have about, what just that type of an experience, you know what I mean? And it's very understandable, man. It's a wild, wild thing. But what's up, Dennis Lindsay? Or should I say, ha, Dennis? When I smoke, others say I was there in dreams that night, and they thought the reality of the dream was very dramatic for them. They probably did. In charge says, "Do I eat meat?" Yes, I absolutely do. Absolutely. I'll be real. I haven't known anyone that's been able to sustain themselves in terms of doing full-time energy work. Oh no, I do. I do. I know lots of people. Never mind. I'll take that back. But for those that I know that are really working with a lot of energy, I do believe that I'll just say it. I think that being able to properly integrate meat within your diet, I think, is essential. I'm so not a like anti-meat person, but I have gone through a lot of stages in detox where I didn't eat meat. We did do vegan for a while. I think there's a lot of use in it. I just know for me, and it hasn't really been the appropriate path, but I might go back to it. I'm certainly not opposed to it. Like um if the physical need arises for that, I'm absolutely not opposed to it. I think it is a really powerful, like, first stage anti-cancer, like, I can't even say the word, but, yeah, like, raw vegan will definitely begin a wave of alkalization and change in the body that I think some people at stages, it'll save you for a while, and then at a certain stage, it'll start to deplete you, and I definitely did get to experience a meatless cycle for long enough to feel the depletion of it. And I noticed that when I started eating meat again, that hormones changed, body changed, a lot of things. But I've also, at the same time, I think, experienced toxicity from eating meat as well in the form of gallstones. So there's a very interesting kind of trade-off, and part of those are genetic factors for me, part of it's behavioral stuff. But I think understanding the balance of that, it has been really, really helpful for me. And maybe it's different for everyone else, because I know a lot of people are very staunch in their beliefs that, one cannot ascend eating the flesh of another being, and that, rightfully so. That I leave room for that. Just like we were saying earlier, one of the reasons why most of the remote viewing prophecies aren't really forming and coming true right now is because everyone's viewing a literally real version of reality, and everyone's on a different ride. I think we have similar dynamics with that when it comes to like sustainability, in diet for people that work with energy. So I just know for me, like, it's just the way we do it. Anyway, I don't even know. Probably doesn't even matter. But yeah, that is true. That is true. Thanks, bin charge. That's definitely you're absolutely correct. Absolutely correct. White Swan says I've got O blood type. A lot of you guys know this. I don't even know what my blood type is. Is that crazy? is that is that a crazy thing? I don't know. I don't know. Maybe I don't want to know. Angel Wing says, "Oh, we saw this. We saw this. Thank you. I absorb other negative energy, but it's to remove." Oh no, I didn't. Maybe I thought we already read your comment, but I'll read it again. It's to remove negative things through my solar plexus. Once your chakra system is operational on a higher enough level, you can transmute demons through it. I certainly agree. You definitely can. And I would say that is honestly the way you're describing that. I believe is a very good example of a very activated and powerful Well, it's sort of like a turbine within the solar plexus. I mean, let's be real. Everyone views chakras a little bit differently, but there are a lot of vast similarities that will kind of stretch through, I think, most clairvoyance kind of understanding. And one of the things we do often view are, somewhat of a rotational aspect. And we also often view what we would call appendages or cones of energy that seem to emit from those energy centers in the body. And I mean, well, I'll just be real. I've seen it too many times to think that it's fake now. But the solar plexus would be very well described as somewhat of a turbine in the sense that it's sort of spinning and pushing energy, and it can push it frontward, it can push it backward. I think that Angel Wings was commenting on the ability of the human body to use portal or chakras as a portal to sort of like either assimilate or process or remove energy to link it to other places, even vibratory realms. If you want to go there, I mean, that by my understanding and for what I have observed, that is literally real. And I'll just be authentic, okay? Sorry, and I don't want you to be offended. She might be offended. I don't, actually, you probably won't. But I just don't. I have noticed that for most people, when we use our energy centers as the means through which we will dispose of or remove something from a client or a person in a healing process, I think just by the nature of that action, we will unknowingly absorb energies or things from those people. I just believe that's just the way that it goes. Like, kind of like if you go into a building where everyone's smoking, even if you don't smoke ever and you don't plan to smoke, you're going to come out of that building and you're going to have some form of like, you know what I mean? You're going to be like, and so it doesn't have to be toxic. I'm just saying that that's my personal belief. Someone else will disagree and they'll be like, "No, that's not how it works." Um, that's been my experience. That's what I've seen other people, but it's also really advanced. I also leave room for the idea that some people are strong enough to where they can handle that. Maybe you have a really strong energetic liver. I'm not even joking. Like you probably have a extremely powerful liver chakra. It could be. Definitely could be. What's up, Sonia Galactic? She says, since we're talking about this, last year I stopped doing speed after like 9 years. Yeah, good job. Hard AF. My first my nerves would not allow me to fall asleep. Now I can use my superpower sleeping, right? Man, let me tell you, as a person that had to kick opiates after like 7 years at one point. Oh my lord. I feel you, right? On the whole, like when your body begins to sleep again, it's like, oh, like really, there's a very wild thing and the dream world opens up, and good job, man. Way to go. That is a hell of a journey. Hell of a journey in this life, man. Which is cool on one hand because it says you're meant to be here. You're a true survivor. It will say that you have a very, very distinct level of ability and resilience that many people do not have. Then it also lends itself to all, well, we know it lends itself to all kinds of complications, and we'll always be a little bit of an alien amongst everyone else. But wild. Anyway, thanks, you guys. Let me know if you have any questions. I'm going to show a couple videos here. I'll say this now for the AI algorithmic bots that are watching. We're going to show a couple videos from X or Twitter, which I think we're allowed to do. The last stream is still up. So the last time we did this, it's up. But screw it. We're going to do it. We're going to do it. And so we're going to take a look at just a couple things here. This is for our discernment, just to kind of check out for those of us that are on the path of just developing higher levels of psychic discernment, and you're starting to honestly question. Well, I think everyone here that's watching this channel is pretty much questioning everything right now, but maybe you're starting to notice just the deeper levels of information and how everything, and this is not a black pill statement, how we're watching this unfold day by day like a living television show that we all get to be a part of. And a lot of you guys got to see this, but I think the audio might turn on. But 2025 started out. Yeah, we've all seen this. A lot of you guys have seen it. The exploding Cybertruck, you know what I mean? It's like the what of course, nobody had this on their nobody had this on your 2025 scorecard, right? And we've been watching this really interesting kind of saga unfold over the past, I guess it's been months now, right? With, the mystery drones and, all kinds of wild stuff. And, then all of a sudden this, this crazy Cybertruck thing shows up and explodes out there. And I know a lot of you guys have already kind of seen, the video that I'm about to show. Um, I don't know that I'll show the whole thing. Once again, this is for, the purpose of just like critiquing stuff. And so we might watch it. It's 3 minutes long. Let's see. Here we go. Let's put it on. We're gonna watch this thing. And so maybe some of
This
you
email
guys
came
saw
in
this.
on December 31st
Audio
at
plays.
10:42 a.m. That is Tuesday. He said, in case I do not make it to my decision point or on to the Mexico border, I am sending this now. Please do not release this until 1 January and
Turn
keep
off
my
the
identity
audio
private
here.
until then. First off, I'm not.
And so you guys can easily read what's on the screen. Most of you guys have seen this. I'm seeing that in the chat. A lot of you guys have already seen this one, but so this was from the Sean Ryan show, which is it's a pretty good show. I would say overall I have enjoyed Sean Ryan's content. And you guys can go ahead and read the words on the screen if you're fast at reading. We could play the audio. I'm going to assume that a lot of you guys have seen this. If you haven't, you can watch this whole interview on YouTube and Twitter or whatever. But what he's essentially doing is tying the mystery drone wave in with what did they call it, anti-gravitic craft from China and all this stuff. And it turns out, this guy was the guy that somehow ended up over at Trump Tower after renting the Cybertruck. And you guys have heard this story, which it's wild to see how much of it has already been uncovered, right? Which I think is usually one of the first clues that you're going to look at when you look at this overall event that's taking place. And, like I said, everybody has been looking for some kind of an answer. You've been trying to put this together. And what I believe we're seeing is another part of a very intricate game that's being played in front of our eyes right before, if you want to make it about the Trump thing. I mean, it is. Obviously, they blew up the truck in front of Trump Tower. So we know exactly what it's about on some level. But I think this is one of those events that is perfect, absolutely perfect for developing intuitive discernment. And why? Why would I say that? Why would I say that? Because number one, there's really no way right now that any living one person is going to be able to give the answer on this, right? Over the next couple days, tens of thousands of YouTube remote viewers are going to weigh in on it. All the people across, Twitter and everyone on every, channel is going to talk about it. I'm sure other people are going to do a show if they haven't already. And um, my recommendation is to take in all of it, like really, really take it in and ask yourself, what does this feel like to you? John Kin's got it. You guys are asking some good questions. You guys are asking some good questions. Is the guy even dead? Did he fake his own death? There's a bunch of other videos that I could show. And I don't know, maybe I should go ahead and play the audio. The video is almost over. And once again, you guys can find this in your own time, but it's about to end. But I'm curious, what is the take from our overall group here? What is the take from those of you guys that have been watching this unfold? I know the chat doesn't leave you much room to kind of talk about it. But I'm curious, as intuitive beings in your own way, as you've watched, the mystery drone phenomenon unfold, and you've watched every news channel and every commentator grab onto it, and yes, every disclosure influencer, remote viewer has already given their definitive version of what it is. And lo and behold, a few days later, then we get the semi-official version. Is it official? We don't even know. I can tell you what it feels like. I'm going to give you an early stage empathic interpretation of what I believe we are being given. I go back once again to my original belief that, or no, I shouldn't say belief. Let me be very accurate, because if you don't know, it's wild how much people it's wild how much people in this social group judge each other. But my original claim still stands. I believe the vast majority of what I have perceived as, mystery drone activity, at least represented within the videos that I have been able to watch, when I feel into what we would call the source energy, or almost, and I kind of mentioned this in last week's show, what I would call the chords that are tied to it, which is for some reason just the way that I'm able to perceive things when I'm feeling into something, or we could say like empathically reading it, or we can even say remote viewing, you know what I mean? And I look at what strands or chords of energy are attached to the object in question. And when I feel into them, the chord of energy that's attached to it is one that feels very human. I'm not saying that it's a Chinese person or it's a white. I'm not trying to make that claim. I'm saying from the perspective of a professional psychic, if I need to say it, that's worked with, maybe thousands of people over the world. From what I perceive when I feel into that phenomenon, I would say the vast majority of what has been shown is of mechanical origin, being tied to some form of an organic life form that feels like a human. Now, I noticed, for those of you guys that have watched the video, the Sean Ryan interview, he mentions anti-gravitic craft. I do believe that, at least from an empathic perspective, which I think is kind of one of the primary methods through which I'll interface with things intuitively lately. It's like, what does it feel like? Which some people will say, well, that's not, dude, it's worked so well for me. Oh my God. Anyway, the more I allow myself to do it, the honestly, the better we get. But um, when I feel into what we would call the chemical structure of the so-called, mystery drones, um, it does feel as though there is what I would call like more than likely not of Earth origin, at least in some forms of the technology. Honestly, I'll just be, and this might be ridiculous to do so, but honestly, it feels like a mix of both. It feels like they've integrated certain elements of like propulsion systems, but there's also a lot of Earth-based stuff. Like if you wanted to call it like certain types of hybrid kind of vehicles, but that's not even the right word. Um, Once again, tied to humans. And so, it doesn't really confirm or deny or go against any of the stories that, we are seeing, within this most recent thing. But one thing I do feel when we move over to what I would call the energy signature of, the guy in the Cybertruck, moving on to that in relationship with the overall phenomenon. Um, when I feel the two of them, it feels as though there are elements that lock into place, meaning what I would call there's strands of truth that join both stories. But there also feels as though something has been very, very left out, or it's almost like this will be a very strange image. Some of you guys will pick this up in your mind's eye. It's almost like a keyboard or like a piano, and someone's playing a very particular type of song, and there's places on the piano where the keys have been removed, but the person is still playing the song. It's just there's areas where no sound is coming out. And so when I perceive things like that from an intuitive perspective and I'm feeling into a situation or a person, what it tells me, I would say number one, maybe from like if we were to look at it from like, what if that was a document, Matthew, that you're describing? I think that would be a good example of an energy that has been redacted in a sense. Or if we're looking at it from a behavioral or a situational perspective, I would take that as a situation where energy has been eclipsed or removed, or there's just a massive, massive chunk that doesn't fit. And so, anyway, having said that, moving over to the subject of this guy who supposedly blew himself up in the truck, I will be honest with you, to me, he feels dead. Because I've noticed that was a big question, and there's a couple videos I noticed also on X where it's like somebody was trying to say there's nobody actually in the truck. Um, I mean, maybe I'm wrong. I mean, I think one of the dumbest things we can do as intuitives is really form hard and fast conclusions about things that, yeah, we do. Well, but it's kind of foolhardy to really, really form hard and fast conclusions in this day and age just because of the nature of so many conflicting timelines. But from a professional perspective, when I feel into that person, Matthew Livesberger, whatever his name was, respect to you because I believe he's passed on. So I believe he was in the truck. The one of the things that I don't think is made clear, to me, it feels like he didn't necessarily plan to end his own life, which is odd because at the same time, it feels like he may have done so, possibly under duress, or maybe he was shot because I know other people are saying he was shot from outside of the vehicle. I don't believe that. Um, And I don't know, I guess this part of me worries if I say, this, I don't know, is this prohibited keywords? I don't know. But it just feels like yet another one of those MK Ultra kind of portrayal kind of pageants of random violence that have been planned and chosen and put in the works for years and rolled out at just the right time and just the right way with, a revolving cast of characters that probably all visited Fort Bragg and similar other places multiple times to go through, psychological operation kind of, testing and programming. And you know what I mean? So I think that there's a tremendous amount of people that are kind of like Manchurian candidate assets from a much larger community. And one of the things that I think we've kind of seen over the past few weeks, maybe even possibly with the CEO killer, is people that are kind of chosen or activated from a larger pool of possibles. I think what we saw with the Trump Tower Cybertruck thing, the gentleman, who I do believe is dead, I think is a really good example of that. At a certain stage, they, while they also had a very legitimate military career, at a certain stage, they were subjected to a series of, partitions and, trauma-based mind control that allows them to be activated later on. And so I do know absolutely beyond the shadow of a doubt, it is possible to activate that person to such a level to where they'll just, you know what I mean? And, um, it's literally real. I know a lot of you guys that watch this channel know that that's absolutely real as well, and that's not really new on any level. A lot of us have already theorized this part of the story. I'm just giving you my version of it. Um, anyway, I'm gonna look at some of your comments on this thing here. Welcome Healing says, exactly what I thought. MK Ultra Jason Bourne type situation. It's really what it feels like, especially given that this individual was also a competitive shooter and had been done. He had done competition television shows with other influencers. He's obviously operating at a high level of skill. And, once again, while I didn't play the whole audio of the video, maybe I'm just needlessly, afraid of getting my channel swiped or something. But while I did not play that entire video, I would encourage you guys to go watch it and feel into the guy that is actually talking in the video. In fact, here, I'm just gonna I'm gonna do it. I'm sorry. I'm gonna bring it back in a second here. Where did it go? Shit. Okay, maybe we're not supposed to bring it back. But, anyway, Selena says, agree on the sleeper agents, right? They try to pull that same manipulate frequency on us higher activated individuals. That can change the outcome of a timeline. Certainly can. Selena says, I think it's weird in the video, the stuff in New Orleans, how some people aren't reacting. They just kind of stand there. I've noticed that as well. I believe that is a kind of the byproduct of the kind of the desensitization, toward violence. And, some people would say it's a very sad thing. Other people would say, well, there's going to be a lot more of it, depending on how you want to look at it. I mean, it's certainly not a good thing, but I think people have been desensitized on a larger level. And anyway, we'll get to that one in a second, but that is my understanding right now, White Swan. I don't actually know. That's just me skipping through the internet realm. So, who knows? Who knows if any of that's true? But what's up, Lois? Lois says we do have to notice all the players were in military special ops, right? Right? It's like, and it's all just a coincidence, right? I mean, it's not, obviously not, but obviously they all are. Even on here, I am. I'm gonna bring it back. Let me find it. We're gonna do just a little bit of audio. I think the audio worked before, didn't it, you guys? Okay. Okay, I think this is it. Here we go. We're going to play the audio just for a moment, and I want you guys to listen to this guy on the screen right here, okay? I'm going to turn the audio up. Once again, YouTube, Yard Dogs, allow us to play this film. This is X, so we're allowed to play that, right? Anyway, hopefully the audio works. Let me know in the chat if it doesn't work. Listen to this guy.
So this email came in on December 31st at 10:42 a.m. That is Tuesday. He said, in case I do not make it to my decision point or on to the Mexico border, I am sending this now. Please do not release this until 1 January and keep my identity private until then. First off, I am not under duress or hostile influence or control. My first car was a 2006 black Ford Mustang V6 for verification.
Okay,
what we have been seeing with drones, he puts that in quotes. He says drones is the operational use of gravitic propulsion systems powered aircraft by most recently China and the East Coast, but throughout history, the US. Only we in China have this capability. Our OPCEN, that's Operation Center,
okay, we'll pause it there. Okay. Try not to grab onto the content of what he's saying, right? We just heard what he said, and he said, anti-gravitic craft, try not to grab onto the content. Feel into the person and the voice that is speaking. Okay, I'm just gonna do a little bit of it again. Okay, guys, we're gonna rewind. Do not listen to what he is saying. Feel into the person and the voice that is speaking here. We'll do it from the very beginning, okay, you guys? Seriously, feel and look at him. Don't listen to his words. Here we go.
So this email came in on December 31st at 10:42 a.m. That is Tuesday. He said, in case I do not make it to my decision point or on to the Mexico border, I am sending this now.
Okay, I'm going to stop it right there. This is a really, really good example of a voice or a person that is in a state of portrayal. Okay, meaning that this person's intention, based upon my experience and understanding, this person is entered into this situation with a very particular agenda, a message, or a need to convince people of something. It feels like it's a habitual thing for this person, And from what I would call a vibrational perspective, I do not believe this person really has a lot of discernment. They may have a lot of experience, but in terms of sensing and feeling, I think that there's a great vacancy. And the reason why I'm saying listen to the voice is because as you continue to learn to analyze people and feel the frequency of truth and kind of look at things on a deeper level, one of the things that's really helped me is to stop listening to what they're saying and start feeling into what is the voice, what is the energy behind it, what sort of feelings or emotions, what kind of thought forms do you get when you just listen to the guy and look at his face. And so here we go. I'm gonna see what you guys got some good comments. I saw them here. Okay. Here we go. Goddess says kind of detached, right? Okay, okay, okay. Kelly Dillon said, here we go. A bit full of himself, dramatic affectation. Very good. I was gonna use the term self-important. There's a self-importance there. There is a feeling of I know exactly what it is. If we were to let the video play, there's this moment where they both do this sort of fake anti-gravitic crap. Huh, huh, what the hell's that? As if they don't know. As if they don't know. If you don't, I mean, it's like all the other cool guy, operational, military terms, but somehow you know what I mean? It's like, bro, you fucking know. Anyway, White Swan says Sam even mocked the email when he first got it. It's true. I believe that this is part of a very, very elaborate campaign to cover up the fact that we're just watching another layer of ongoing monitoring control, the level to which, the so-called United States government has been sold out to a number of foreign interests. Not that I even have an opinion on it, because I'm not a political person. And some people will say it's very cynical to say so, but honestly, I don't even really care that much. I treat it a lot more like a living television show, and I think for those of us that are out there, kind of continuing to watch these things and building your own discernment, I think this is a really good example where you can tell something is just like I guess the old term, which doesn't necessarily work now, is something's trumped up. You know what I mean? Like a few years ago, we would have used that term. Now it's probably something cool. But you know what I mean? It's like blustery and full of something, and there's self importance, and there's just only a document on the screen, and there's this one email. And you know what I mean? It's like if there was ever a perfectly arranged menu of items for you to choose, you know what I mean? It's like, here you go, boom, and then a truck blows up outside Trump Tower, and now we know they're serious. And so, anyway, having said that, let's look at a couple of these. Yep, Don Rogers got it. Sounds like a cop reading a script. He does, right? I mean, let's just be real. This is not, we're not tearing up this dude's integrity. Like, one of the things that I think people need to do when we begin to unpack and start to really begin to sense things intuitively is that you need to allow yourself to feel into a person's energy and to go through the process of making both incorrect and correct judgments about what you believe they're representing. And not because our judgments are making it true, it teaches us the ways in which our intuitive abilities work, the ways in which we draw conclusions and the feelings and the thought forms behind what we perceive in the voice of other people. Even if we are unable to figure out if any of this is true, and honestly, I'll just be real, it kind of doesn't really matter, you guys. I treat it like a TV show, like we're just watching a living TV show. You know what I mean? And that I believe that's literally what it is. This is the latest scene in the living TV show right before the mid-season finale. You know what I mean? Or the new season drops. Actually, no, it's the season premiere on January 20th, 2025. We're watching, the season finale, or like the spin-off series, that's playing in the background, whatever it is. And so you guys kind of get where we're going with this. That said, we're going to pull another one up. Get ready. We're just going to keep going. We're going crazy with this. And so you guys also saw this one. This is one I got to experience. I did. We did get it. We really did. We got the fog. Oh my God. Let me know if this one shows up on the screen.
The air around you is filled with microscopic sensors gathering data invisibly. Smart dust, a groundbreaking technology that seems straight out of science fiction. These tiny devices, no bigger than a grain of sand, are designed to collect and transmit data wirelessly. Smart dust consists of miniaturized sensors, robots, or other devices that can detect light, temperature, vibration, magnetism.
The music kind of overpowers his words, doesn't it? I guess you can sort of read them on the screen.
Imagine
But just kind of
tiny
take a moment and just
or deploying them in a bustling city, dispersing them in the desired environment. Real-time data collection, enhanced monitoring. Billions of these sensors could be in use soon. Are we ready for this invisible revolution? The air around you is filled with microscopic sensors.
okay. I don't want to let it play too many times. The AI yard dogs will come. Actually, they won't. We're allowed to play Twitter stuff, right? Anyway, we were just getting started. I was putting on the glasses. We were gonna kind of just feel the vibe for a second. But do you live in a part of the world where you got to experience the dreaded evil fog of 2025? Did you get to experience the fog? Because let me tell you, we did. And there we were. It was the evening of December 31st, 2024. And me and Honora, we were just going about our normal world. It was a night just like any other night. Only it was the end of the year, and we were gonna. I was gonna possibly show up on typical skeptic round table for a little while, and we happened to we happened to go outside, and I noticed that the land had been blanketed with a very, very massive layer of wild mist and fog. And I gotta be real, it looked a lot like what we see in this video. Should I play it again? Maybe we will. I think we're gonna do it. Yeah, screw it. It's not Friday, it's Saturday. Here we go. Ready?
The air around you is filled with microscopic sensors gathering data invisibly. Smart dust, a groundbreaking technology that seems straight out of science fiction. These tiny devices, no bigger than a grain of sand, are designed to collect wirelessly. Smart dust consists of miniaturized sensors.
Makes you smarter.
Devices that can detect light, temperature, vibration.
Every day, in every way, I'm getting smarter and smarter.
Back to a central system,
2025 is the year of fog, y'all.
Or deploying them in a bustling city, dispersing them in the desired environment. Real-time data collection, enhanced monitoring. Billions of these sensors could
telepathy, or is it all the nanobots you absorb from the unusual fog? Which one is it? What if the fog is giving us special abilities? You know what I mean? What if it's kind of like that episode of Family Guy where they all what is it? Where they get like they get exposed to toxic waste. Some of you guys will remember this, the Family Guy episode where they get superpowers, right? I don't remember the superpowers they got. I only remember that Meg, her superpower was she just got long fingernails. But I don't remember the other superpowers. Does anyone else remember the episode of Family Guy? Anyway, the point being is that so yeah, Honora and I'm just gonna be real. Okay, you guys, that's why I'm wearing these glasses. So yeah, Honora and I went into the fog. Okay. And things just haven't really been the same since. It's like I can hear them crying out. A million voices all at once. Or what was that line from Star Wars where they blow up Alderaan and like he feels the force and he's like it felt like a million voices all cry, crying out at once. It's true. It's true. I got smart dusted. So I just want to let everyone know it's one of the reasons why I'm such an expert on everything now. I did get exposed to the overall AI network through the unusual smart fog. It's cool because it does boost your IQ about, I don't know, 5 or 10 points, something like that, depending on how much fog you absorb. Problem is, it comes with a lot of heavy metal toxicity, which, as you know, it's not necessarily a good thing. But I can tell you one thing, it's not in the fog, okay? Because you're going to find this on Facebook. And I'm sorry, because there's good people out there that will attach themselves to. I'm trying to think of a kind way. I'll just say there's good people out there that will attach themselves to blatant untruths. And it doesn't take a professional psychic to be able to tell you that there is no goddamn snake venom in the fog, okay? I'm sorry. I'm sorry, please. You guys, please. In 10 or 15 years, maybe shorter, you're going to look back on that claim and go, "Oh my god." You're going to cringe internally when you realize that there was a whole group of people in your social group who had convinced themselves that the government was pumping snake venom as if they would even need to do so. You know what I mean? You can buy worse toxins down at the grocery store. You know what I mean? But you're gonna look back on that and go, oh yeah. Anyway, I never thought it was true, but I know someone else did. But yeah, you will find it. Get ready. Over the coming days, they will say it's snake venom in the fog. You're gonna look back on that just like you did when in a few years when you're like, oh yeah, JFK Jr. never did show up. And oh my God, Princess Di really is dead. Eventually, when we get far enough away from that mind virus kind of moment, everyone will look back and go, yeah, no, it was just really, really toxic fog from all the chemicals that are being sprayed in the environment to modify weather. Which, get ready, here's my one and only current prediction for 2025. Dude, get ready for crazy weather. Crazy weather. I'm saying it now, guys. January 4th, 2025. Crazy weather year. The time has come. It's going to be snowing in places that it's never snowed in years. Other places are going to go through all kinds of wild stuff. There's going to be a, lovely hurricane and weird times that get ready. You're going to see it. It's already happening. I will say though, from, once again, and I'm going to get serious here. Hold on. Boom. Now we're totally serious. Okay. No more joking about anything. This is totally serious. Honestly though, I do believe there is truth in the claim that there is a certain amount of smart dust particulate matter that is being sprayed. I'm making a big joke out of this, but I will also say from an intuitive perspective, that is something that I believe is absolutely present. I think that it's not necessarily as deeply seated within the body as we are being led to believe. When I feel what I would call the frequency of nanoparticular, electroconductive matter within, this is a dumb thing to say, but within the collective, so to speak, when I feel into that, let me take this thing off the screen here. When I feel into that particulate matter, it feels like something that is absolutely present. I don't believe that it's built up to the level that a lot of people are making it out to be. It doesn't feel as though it is, but it is definitely a factor for people. If you took the as some people call it, the countermeasure from the viral madness, you will have elements of the infrastructure needed to continue to use that as just a conductive thing in the body. I know my language is getting very, because I'm trying to not use prohibited keywords. Some of you guys will understand, but I do believe that is a factor with the fog. So there does feel as though there's some if you want to call it nanoparticulate matter, but when I feel into it, it feels like a mix of atmospheric altering chemical agents, a number of, sorry to get weird and specific, salt compounds, like literal physical salt that gets kind of dumped out, I think, along with air, also the aerosolized heavy metals. At least that's what it feels, even as I feel into it right now. Is that anything new? You know what I mean? That's the big question. Haven't we been getting that for like years? I think what we are seeing though is definitely an uptick in it. You know what I mean? We're getting like a huge dose of it. And I think if anyone wants to kind of measure this in your own way, this is not a thing. Excuse me, as I'm officially, as my nose is now officially running on camera, as it often does. But I do suspect that there is an overall acidity change that will come over people that are experiencing negative symptoms from it. Because you can look up some of the other videos and people are like, "Oh, I have coughing and I have this sickness," and it's not snake venom, but it's just extreme toxicity from kind of like acidic compounds and chemicals, and I guess maybe some smart dust. But I also believe that nearly all of us can detox that stuff out of the body anyway. I firmly believe that we can, but anyway, let's check your comments on this. Meanwhile, Aurora Diamond Hearts hitting the vape. Yes, it's okay, whatever. It's all good. Angel Wing sprinkles Himalayan sea salt into all my water. I wish I did. Maybe I should. Maybe I should do that. Lois says, "Is the fog hiding what's going on in the skies?" Maybe it is. I sort of feel, and this is just my feeling. Granted, once again, like I was saying earlier, we're living in the time in which each and every person is viewing a slightly different timeline. Some of you guys are going to be on the same timeline that I'm on right now, as evidenced by the fact that you're here watching this now moment with us live on the internet. You're going to be on the same timeline, more than likely. Now, and I know that's such a buzzword. If you say timeline too many times, that itself creates cognitive dissonance. But we can very easily shift into different states of that. And so I would say right now at this moment, the feeling that I get, at least when I kind of pull myself out of what I would call like the now moment, which, if you're wondering, how might I do such a thing? This will seem odd. You will pull out of the back of your head and upward. You can, when you start doing that, you will just begin with the imagination. That's the seeding point for everything that we do energetically. Every time, we will begin to peer into something psychically or even begin to engage in energetic clearing of any kind, it begins within the imagination and within your willingness to just allow yourself to pretend for a few moments. Sometimes people don't like when I say that, but that's the first layer of your third eye. If you wonder why people can't ever open their third eye, it's because there's many reasons. Sorry, we won't get into the intricacy of that. But one of the reasons is because we have to go through the imagination layer. You have to allow yourself to awaken it. And so, anyway, when I feel into such things, I will often kind of pull up backward and upward, and I'll sort of try to feel what we would call a larger area. I don't feel like it's intentionally covering anything up. It feels like it's just kind of a byproduct of the massive increase in toxic weather modification, which I guess is a very terrestrial, mystical, what's another sarcastic descriptive term I can use? But you guys totally get where I'm going with that. To me, it feels a lot more a representation of the ways in which we're kind of just building up toxicity and altering things. And anyway, watch how that goes. We're gonna see that unfold in an interesting way. And you guys will notice the cycle of madness that's brought up in the media over the next few months, because they're going to throw another wild thing and then another wild thing and another wild thing. And so yeah, just see what shows up next week. Watch next week, there will be reports of, bizarre animal behavior in areas where the fog was. Suddenly a herd of cattle, all of a sudden 10,000 of them got bird flu after being near the fog. You know what I mean? Watch, get ready. It will be tied to a mysterious illness in the if it isn't already. Maybe it is. Maybe it is. Anyway, thanks, Tiffany. You came in at the right moment. Dropping this in again for fun. Random question that may or may not get addressed by anyone here. Anyone have insight on integrating big archetypal shadow energies, devil, trickster, slave, etc.? That's a good question. I know that for me, 2024 was a very interesting year in kind of viewing the shadow elements of myself from a very different perspective. And I think that I got to see it reflected through the distorted ideas of what other people had, started to think I was, or the way they had perceived me. And I think that the relationship with the shadow part of me was not from what was displayed in those moments, but from the ways in which it caused me to look at like my own darkness. And so anyway, to try to address your question, I think that anytime we're trying to integrate, like whether it be an archetypal shadow element or even just the deeper ways of darkness within us, I really think, at least for me, the first step is radical allowance. Not saying that we will act out on such things, which I know but for those that don't, I don't mean that we will act out in such things, but we will allow for the complete shameless examination of what those energies bring us. Meaning, like if you're working with maybe your own, I'll grab one of the terms you have on the screen, maybe the slave self or the trickster archetype within you. You're going to be sitting very, very closely with that version of you, and it's like you're going to be holding hands with it and attempting to understand it and peer directly into the nastiest or the weirdest or the grossest elements of it. I just know that for me, that first layer is it usually has to do with acceptance, allowance, just letting it's like you got to completely open the box and go, wow, why do I really feel that way? What is the real reason behind it? Who are the real faces underneath that piece of myself? You know what I mean? It's like you go super deep in it, and holy shit, it's so vulnerable. Oh my God. Because you're going to come up with people and places of things that none of us are at. Oh, Lord, you won't talk about them publicly. Of course. I mean, why would you? I mean, it's like the deepest parts in there where, everyone's got a weird, shameful element, or there's a childhood wound underneath it. And I guess if you wanted to approach it from maybe a more therapeutic perspective after that, after sitting with it and feeling it, I think one of the next stages for a lot of people will be learning to vent it or release it from the body. One of the really cool things that Honora has taught me over the years was that for a lot of people, that will come through releasing it in 3 different ways. Meaning that it's like some people will write about it, some people will talk about it, and then they'll also do artwork and express something through it, in that sense. But that you will need 3 different ways through which your body will express those energies. And it can be totally different ways. But I have this weird feeling. I know for me, it's because it's been a really big thing that I had to come to terms with, at least on smaller levels at earlier stages of my journey, which is, I think one of the things that you can say for people that have walked through stages of their life in which they've had hardcore addictions. Like I was saying earlier, big stage for me, huge, oh my God, hugest stage of my life. And you were able to get through it. we were able to get through it. Now you're in a stage where it's like, what? You don't even recognize that version of you. That's a good example of when you have integrated and worked through deep shadow elements of what you've been carrying since you came in here, because you'll inevitably be able to look back on the other side of it and also look at the blessings that it gave you. And anyway, I'm probably going on and on needlessly, but I think coming to full acceptance of the ugliest things within your internal world is like one of the greatest keys. And you're going to see over the next few years, you guys, you're going to see all the spiritual influencers and whistleblowers and cool guys that command thousands of people in their events and things. You're going to know very clearly who does not do that work, because they're going to be sitting in the same stage and in the same place that they were when it all began. They're going to be addicted to the same themes and the same stories and trying to uncover the same experiences that everyone's rehashed. And you will notice that nothing has gone any further. It'll still be black equals bad, light equals good, reptilian equals evil, white looking alien equals good, right? You know what I mean? It's like it'll be from this ultra simplistic, very limited perspective. And you'll be way past that, and you'll be looking back on it going, huh, I guess they're all still up into that whole thing. Okay. And that'll be weird, because then that'll bring up this whole other thing within you that you get to work with and going like, whoa, why am I so different now? Why have I changed? Well, honestly, it's because you grew. I would like to think. I mean, because sometimes we can grow. I don't know. Maybe this is dumb. I think we also grow, or we regress. I was going to say grow in reverse. Anyway, because we do, right? We certainly regress. I've known a few people within our social group over the last few years that have certainly regressed into, very distorted versions of themselves. And I say it, knock on wood, for all those of you that are here today. I pray that never happens to me. You know what I mean? But everyone can get stagnated in a stage. I hope that, oh God, you know what I mean? I'm sure I've got a number of them. Maybe we all do. But anyway, there might have been one other thing we were going to mention. Let's check it out. We are going to do some readings here in just a moment. I think there was another area of discussion. Let's find. We got the toxic fog. We did. We got the toxic fog. I will remind everyone of this, because we are very, very close to announcing, number one, a new cycle of what I would call kind of intuitive intensive groups. We did one in 2024, and it was quite different from the previous three groups. And honestly, in many ways, it has been absolutely the most successful group that we've done so far. I think for different reasons than the previous ones, but we are going to be beginning a series of live classes in the coming months, and also just kind of direct connection in a group environment. What that will look like for those of you guys that are interested here, and I'm kind of implanting this on your timeline right now, because if there has ever been one thing that I ever did right in this life, it was transform myself into the path of the professional intuitive. I mean, it's not like debatable. It's like, and I'm not saying that to like toot the horn of like I was able to do this. I'm saying it from the perspective of, if there was ever one thing that I was qualified to assist other people within in their own journey, it was navigating their understanding of how to do so, how to open up those things and make them work in their own way. And one of the things that I've noticed that we did with the 90-day group in 2024 was that it was a lot less about classes. It was not about like static information and techniques. It was more about the exploration of the self through opening of the body in Qigong, and through silent meditation, through also the private sessions that we did. And what we found is that when you do so with sometimes smaller groups of people with less of a concrete goal, it gives people an opportunity to kind of explore themselves and to develop in a very, very different way. And so one of the things that I think we're going to be doing more this year is kind of a lot more of that. It's kind of an intensive group process. You meet with me multiple times a week in a group. Well, yeah, kind of at least once every week we will be meeting as a group and going through a certain type of meditative journey, or a little bit of breath work or qigong. It just keeps going. And so I'm implanting this in your timeline for those of you guys that have been looking for a path or a method through which you can begin to explore, to kind of work through what I call the 4 gateways of intuitive activation in your own way, and to honestly make 2025 the year in which you're able to perceive truth on such a greater level than you ever did before. Some of you guys out there are going to be very, very ready for that. And so I'm implanting it on the timeline now because we're going to be announcing it in the very, very near future. But in the meantime, this is a question that I have been getting a lot, and here goes the other screen share thing. For those of you guys that have been looking for a method through which you can begin to explore doing energy work in your own way. Maybe you have already tried Reiki. Maybe you have done, this modality or that modality. Maybe you're already a professional healer within your own way. And there I go. I said the dreaded word again. Energetic practitioner in your own way, and you're looking for a method or for what some would call a supplementary modality that can absolutely, and I know this is going to be a very, we could say, what's the word I'm looking for? It's I'm intentionally being serious when I say this. If you're looking for a method through which you can seriously supercharge and take the energy work that you're doing to a completely different level, this is going to be one of the things that could potentially help you. We're going to be doing a live class on this possibly later in the year. But for right now, what we have on, and I can't say the name of this website here on YouTube, but you can see it on the screen. I literally can't say the name of it. You can see it on the screen. But if you go head over there, we have it. It's still going. We have a 6-session class in which you can learn how to begin working with your own chakras and doing energy work, to begin the process of working with the capsule phrases in your own way, to begin clearing your energy body in honestly ways that I think are going to lead you to a different level of clarity. When we talk about, learning to open up the crown through which we can begin to perceive, frequencies and what we call quote unquote downloads from spirit. This is a series that will give you a way to do that without connecting in with any ascended masters and hierarchies of beings and galactic federations and alliances. And it's not that there's anything wrong with that. It's just, I mean, really, there isn't. It's honestly a beautiful thing. It's just that we already have those entryways and those connections and those communicative strands available to each and every one of us organically. One of the ways in which you begin to embrace that path of your own is by learning to clear and open the chakra body. If you're wondering why you haven't been able to let go of things like the lack programming from childhood, the things that keep you poor, the behaviors that are making it really hard for you to build abundance in this life, if you're wondering why it's still so hard for you to find a very, very, a powerfully reciprocated relationship that's passionate, well, you might have energy tied up in the sacral chakra, and there's a million ways you could go about fixing that or releasing it. One of the things that I've observed about the capsule phrases and the modality that we use is it's accessible by everyone, literally, because the actual mechanic is dilation. That's literally what this course teaches you to do, to dilate your chakras so that energy flows differently in the body. The byproduct of that is that you begin to perceive reality on a little bit of a different level. And honestly, a lot of the things about you that you thought, oh, well, that's just the way I am. I don't know. I guess I'm just kind of crazy. And I don't know, I guess I'll always be this weird person that's never able to this or that, or, sometimes you'll know you have ability, but you're like, how do I kind of get a different layer of that? Um, anyway, I don't mean to oversell it, but honestly, this is a method right here that you can use. And so you can check us out. You can purchase this course if you want over at the website that you will see on the screen that I cannot name. And you can even buy it by session. Literally, you can work with each area by session. You can download the slides. The reason why I continue to talk about this one is because time after time, people continue to find it. coming up in 2025, by May of, this year, it will, it'll be 2 years since this one is online, and we are going to do another one. So this one will eventually go, I'll be taking it down. There was an older one on here years past, and we took that one down. So eventually this one will get taken down, and then we will do the live version of the class. But if you're just looking for a method right now, and, maybe the other ones didn't work. Like I said a million times, when I started doing energy work, I had a little bit of a hard time because, people would say, just do this, just do that, just create the column of light, just create an orb. That's all you got to do. Or no, this is the best one. Ready? Just use the violet flame. And I'd be like, okay, ready? I'm like, all right, let's do the violet flame. Boom. And you're like, ready? And I'm like, how? No, seriously though, I'm not trying to make a joke out of this. When I started doing energy work, I was like, I am willing to do it 100%. Yeah, I'll do the column of light, I'll do the orb of energy. I'm ready. I'm going to pray to Archangel Michael. And I did. I definitely did. And I put my whole heart in all of it. And you guys know this. I'm sorry to go back into this rant. You know this. And nothing really happened. I'm just going to be real. Nothing happened. I got a good feeling to watch everyone doing it live on YouTube, It felt good. It was nice. Felt like a part of something, you know what I mean, for a few moments, You know what I mean? There's like a vibe that comes with it. But honestly, it really, 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 really didn't do shit to me on any level until I began to work deliberately with life force energy within the body and starting to move that through the process of toning, or the capsule phrases, a number of ways. We do it a number of ways, but that was when it changed for me. And so maybe you're like me and you know that you have an ability, but you're like, I don't know, these other ways they didn't necessarily work. I think this is one that's accessible by a lot of people, and you can actually weed through the YouTube channel. Sorry to rant on this for so long. You can weed through our YouTube channel and you can find session 1 from 2022. 2022 session 1 of the chakra classes is it's buried in here. I should make it more available, but I don't know. At the same time, I'm like, I see myself and I'm like, I love the info, but I hate watching myself on the screen. But anyway, you can check it out in your own way, in your own time. With that, let's do some readings. Is this a good time to do readings, you guys? What do you think? I think it is. I'm going to play one more video to kind of clear the energy after that, okay? After those, after the mystery drones and the Sean Ryan thing and the Trump Tower thing. I'm going to play one more video. This one's on YouTube, okay? So let me just say it again, you guys, all right? YouTube AI bots. I'm playing this video for critique and because I really like it. This is a non-monetized stream, okay? Please let me play this video. All right, hold on. Where is it? I don't know who this guy is, you guys. It's not a cat video, Jason. I'm sorry. I wish it was a cat video. I don't know who this guy is, but this was going around on Twitter a while back. And the problem is there's like a song that plays underneath it, which I don't know. I pray that they just, we're critiquing this video. YouTube, let us play it, because you got to do the audio. You got to do the audio with this one, you guys. In my opinion, this is literally brilliant. Get ready, get ready. Some of you guys know what this is. Maybe you don't. I'm gonna make sure the audio's on. Here it comes.
See what you've done. I don't know who you are. I don't know where you are, but you may want to start changing your ways or changing your name.
Boom. Like, what? Okay, for real. Let me know if that worked. Let me know if it worked. I don't know, man. That guy, dude. It's like I wish I could have that guy's video as like my my actual like YouTube intro thing. I want that guy's video on there. Anyway, let's keep rolling. Right? Right? Okay. I don't know. I love that guy. I love that guy. I kind of want to play it again, but I don't want to. I don't want to get in trouble. Anyway, dude, he's so cool. It's like, you know what I mean. But you may want to go change in your. You know what I mean? It's like, oh, dude. Anyway, sorry. It's a new year. I forgot. I have to be like really serious. I'm sorry. I have to take this very seriously. It's very excellent verbal display of artistry there. That's my serious critique. Anyway, we're going to do all serious readings starting right now. Boom. Okay, these are the most serious readings we're ever going to do. Dana Blazing, we're kicking it off with you. Here we go, ladies and gentlemen. This is our first tarot live stream of 2025. And everything's really serious now. There's a lot of worldwide conspiracies, right? I did inhale the fog, so I have been assimilated by the AI neural network, you know, which is why, you know, this could get a little bit weird. Yeah, let's start. We're going to start out with Dana Blazing. She says a reading would be great. And so, yes, we are doing the tarot class, ladies and gentlemen. Tarot class will more than likely take place before we begin our intuitive exploration kind of intensive group. And so I'd say just look forward to that in the coming weeks. I just need to get all my ducks in a row, as they say. And we are going to be doing a really fun 6-week journey through multidimensional tarot. So let's say if you enjoy the readings we do on this channel, and maybe you believe in your own way, you can probably do very similar ones. You can. It gets better and better every year we do this class. And so you can also learn the meaning of every tarot card. Think of what kind of an advantage you will have understanding the motivations and being able to view the energy of yourself and others from a visually descriptive medium that can also at the same time open up, you know, layers of psychic information within the body. If you're really good, you'll be able to see my screen through the reflection in my glasses. But for now, let's pull a card for Dana Blazing. Here we go. 3, 2, 1, and boom. Wow. Dana Blazing, congratulations. Well, I'm making this very serious, right? It's a very serious, important reading. You've received an Ace of Wands, Dana Blazing, and oh man, a lot of you guys have heard of this. It's a timeline shift opportunity with respect to your cycles of job, your career, your sexuality, your fire, your passion, what you do with your hands, even your physical body. We could even say the way you move your physical body. Seriously though, I'm not trying to make it a joke. The wands are the wands are fire. They're the physical world. And when you have an Ace of Wands, it's like you can change everything right now if you make very bold choices. If you're willing to look at your cycles and notice, well, here we are. Maybe it's the beginning of the year and I'm back at this stage, or this is happening again, or every so often I go through this cycle. And I would say one of the ways, the more common ways in which people experience wands is through jobs and careers and like physical, you know, activities, if you want to say that. So you could also look at the cycles that you're in that area and just know that if you're willing to really branch out into something and really push yourself, you can change everything. Like literally change everything. Never underestimate the power of aces, but just know you can change everything in a really negative way. Seriously, that's the one guarantee. There's no guarantee it'll be positive. So you got to be very careful about the bold choices you make. You can make the right bold choices, or you can make disastrous bold choices, and that'll start a new cycle as well. But anyway, I hope that helps. Dana Blazing, thank you for being here. Next up, we got John Kins. He says, I beseech a reading for 2025. I will reward you with a boon in the future past incarnation. Damn. Okay. Yeah. If you put it that way. This is for John Kins. 3, 2, 1. We're going to keep it really serious. Boom. Seriously, Mr. Kins, you got a 6 of Wands. And for anyone else that needs to receive it, 6 of Wands is a good sign to get. It's as the sign of approval, both spiritually and physically. When the 6 of Wands enters your life, you must know that someone in the spirit realm, or even those around you, are cheering you on. People are in support of a decision that you're making. If you've been asking a question of spirit or the higher self or your guides, and you've been saying, am I ready for this? Should I do this? Should I go there? Should I begin that thing? Maybe in 3D world, you might even say sometimes questions like, should I try to get that job? Maybe you'll say, should I take that trip? I know I'm making it very, normalized as well, but 6 of Wands is the approval to take an action, to begin a path, to depart even. It's I would say for most of us, all of the 6s in the world of tarot will usually be a generally benevolent energy. There's always going to be a downside to everything. I would say the downside to the 6 of Wands is that, it's time sensitive, number one. So if there's a big decision you're about to make right now, you need to know that you have approval, number one. But number two is also a thing that you would have to act on quickly, because momentum can be lost with a 6 of Wands. And at times we can misread the approval that we get from spirit, and we could think, oh yeah, I should definitely do this. And you'll try to get going, and you'll realize that all of a sudden you feel like you have no support. And you're like, but I thought it was okay to, and then basically you'll notice, because there's no support and very quickly there's no energy behind the action you take, that in some cases, we would go to old school tarot where it would be reversed, and we'd say, oh, well, that's, the not good version of 6 of Wands. But a lot of you guys know this. You don't need to reverse cards. You can receive equal elements of both the reversed version of a tarot card and the positive version in the same moment. So, we talk about that in tarot class. Why do we not do that? You've already heard it on this channel a million times, but which is one of the reasons why I think our system of tarot works for people, is because it helps you create a relationship with the cards and treat them kind of like characters in a movie. And so anyway, thanks, John Kins. You got approval, man. Aurora Diamond Heart says, let him cook. I'm into it. Let's do a couple more readings. Goldfishy Pig Frames, how's it going? Would love a reading for the coming year, please, and much thanks. Yes. Let's see what shows up. This is for Goldfishy Pig Frames. From what I would call an empathic perspective, it feels as though you will be aided from a moment of silence, because when I feel into your energy, it feels like a moment that is yearning for nothing to be said or nothing to be heard, for a time and a place for you to catch your breath, but to catch your breath in a different way. It's not like the physical breath, it's like the breath of spirit. And I think that becomes available to you with silence. Well, I do know that comes available to all of us with silence, but for you, I think cultivating spaces of silence and restfulness from a little bit of a different perspective, maybe from a little bit of a different definition of what restfulness is for you, I think is a good thing to bring in right now. Just because it's like, as I sort of lean into you, it's like, something wants to, it just kind of wants to get ready. It just wants to be still. You know what I mean? Those moments where all of a sudden everything goes, and you're like, I think that's what Spirit's asking you for. Take it with a grain of salt. It might feel right. Here's a card for Goldfishy Pick Frames and anyone else. It's an 8 of Cups, which is an interesting thing to see. It would make sense that spirit would say maybe there's a bit of silence due for you so that you can examine and release thought forms from your inner world or from your emotional body. Here, I'll bring it over here. It's easier to see. Because that is a thing you will do with Eight of Cups. You will be looking at the past. You will be thinking of the ones that got away. You might be in times yearning or wishing you could go back, or you've been thinking about losses that you've had, or you've just been noticing things that are missing in your life, and you're wondering, maybe where's mine? When's my turn, my thing, my version? And I'm not defining you as being in this stage. I'm just saying when this energy is around us, it's asking us to rearrange what we understand to be true. It's asking us to kind of look at our life emotionally right now from a different perspective, like from a different angle from the room. Well, if I stand over here and look at it, it looks, it looks a lot, those moments where you realize it looks different when you kind of step back. That's a thing you'll do with the Eight of Cups, because the thing is, people will get caught in this for years. And it's not like anything really bad happens to Eight of Cups. You'll just be caught in mourning for something that's not actually missing from your life. You know what I mean? You'll be sitting there mourning it and worrying about it and yearning for it. And they're like, well, actually, if you rearrange a few things, it's like it doesn't even matter. And so there's a big emotional element with it, I guess is what I'm saying. And so stillness is your friend in the days to come. Having said that, let's keep going. I'm going to grab the next couple ones in a row here just because I see Cosmic Mama here. How's it going? She says, me, me, me. And then we're going to scroll maniacally through the chat. Actually, after Cosmic Mama, we're going to scroll maniacally through the chat. So I also noticed that you did a super chat. I appreciate you for doing so. Thank you. New Year's is the greatest, but chaos arrives. And this is for the new year, for Cosmic Mama, Woman of the Stars. If you can, you guys, please open up a window on the side, or if you're on your phone, open it up, scroll down or however you do it. Open up another YouTube window and go to Cosmic Mama's channel. Seriously, though, for real, please subscribe to her channel. I really, really mean that. We need it. We all need all the support we can get in this weird soul group right now, given all the way they're taking subscribers away from everyone. I didn't think I was one of those people that would get to have that one. You know what I mean? But damn, 458. Like, was there really 458 AI bots that were subscribed to this channel? That's crazy. Damn. I mean, honestly, it trips me out. I have noticed there have been other times where all of a sudden they'll knock out like 200, like back in the day, all of a sudden. And so I can only assume that they were fake accounts, but I'm like, wow, are there really that many? It goes along with that dead internet theory, right? When you think about it. Like, wait, so there was over 400 accounts that were subscribed to your channel that just either they got erased or unsubscribed. I feel as though they were just bot accounts. And I'm like, I wonder what that is. And I guess I'll be really, really, really honest with everyone. And I don't know this is what it is, but I would say it's about 2 years ago now, maybe a little bit more. It might have been 3 years ago. It's hard to get time together, but I noticed a while back I had done an interview with Elena Denon, and after she was on the channel, like, I don't know, something like, dude, I don't know, like 1,000 or more people like subscribed, really quickly. And I noticed that it was weird how it just seemed artificial in some way. It was almost like every day the same amount of subscribers would show up, and it was like literally like 50, 60, like over and over again each day. And it sort of tapered off after a while, but I honestly think there was over 2,000 possibly people that subscribed from that video that I had done to her. And for those of you guys that don't know, there's a long weird history behind it. And I really believe that the majority of those people are controlled, and it's a whole long other story that we won't get into here today, but because a lot of you guys know it. But we did take that, I eventually took it down, for very good reasons. I should talk about it, but I won't. That's a topic for another show. That's a topic for another discussion. But anyway, I eventually took that show down, that episode down, and what I noticed was that all this that cyclical amount of subscribers stopped. And what I believe it in part what it is there's like this wave of like these AI controlled kind of like, accounts that will just sort of like follow certain other accounts, big channels and big people. And honestly, that I think is a really good example when we talk about the phenomenon of artificial intelligence and how within the internet realm, there's this ability to literally create kind of notoriety and to harness energy to kind of like make something appear bigger than it is. And I think around that time, a lot of the subscribers that came into this channel were probably fake accounts that were somehow linked with that because it's also kind of sad at the same time. It's like, damn, that was your biggest period of growth. It was a lot of subscribers, but here we are on the other side of it a couple of years later, and I'm like, that's weird because I noticed that it was like a shitload of people subscribed, but there was no engagement. And I think that's a sign that you will see when people have fake kind of followers on YouTube, or they'll do those things where you can like buy views or you can buy subs. And I think you'll notice that it's like there will be a really big number, but there's not the same amount of like it's just the engagement doesn't add up. And I think that's kind of what happened in our case. It was like some form of like an algorithm was tripped and all of this weird kind of falsely created energy started funneling over there, just like you see with a lot of other people that get attached to those cults of personality, where it's like people that are associated with them will all of a sudden it's like they get all this notoriety and stuff in their own way. I think it was a byproduct of that. So when I look back on it and I'm like, well, I guess it makes sense. Some either momentum was lost or something was drained out, or it's like, which is why like I was saying earlier, you can only laugh at it. It's like I'm like, well, it's like, what difference does it make if hundreds of people desubscribe to this channel when they were most likely fake anyway? And you'll kind of notice that. I think there's a lot of those really big channels are populated by just fake accounts. And anyway, it goes back to that whole dead internet theory. But you got to be careful these days, I guess, talking about the celebrities within certain social groups, because people really they really sort of link themselves. They become like this, it's like they'll die for you almost in a way. But anyway, sorry, Cosmic Mama, I was branching off into craziness. Here we go. 3, 2, 1. What's 2025 have in store? Boom. Okay. You got a 3 of Wands, Cosmic Mama. We've had a few Wands cards popping up already. For you, I would say the next 90 to 120 days of your human experience is very important, not necessarily for what's happening, but for what's about to happen. And I know that sounds like a big statement, but it doesn't mean that anything negative is about to happen. This is the 3 of Wands, and in the world of multidimensional tarot, it's one of very few short-term change indicators. It tells you to keep your eyes on the horizon so that you can see what's approaching you, what's coming up the road. In this case, it's 3 ships. What do they symbolize? What do they mean? They mean 3 possibilities, 3 options, potentially 3 paths, could be 3 different people. You get the idea where we're going with this whole thing. It's not guaranteed the quality of the experiences that will be brought to you through the 3 of Wands, but what it will tell you is that you really need to keep your eyes open. People that have this energy, you're going to discover something in the next few months. And like I said, it could be useless, but it's really dependent upon your ability to stay aware, to keep your eyes open, to look what the world's bringing you, to notice what spirit's bringing you, to be very physically investigative. Whenever you see a lot of wands in the world of tarot, you guys, there's going to be movement. Honestly, not even a lot of wands, maybe even just 2 wands. Although 2 of wands, kind of famous for not taking action, but that's a whole other story. And so anyway, for Cosmic Mama, I would say the first 90 days to 120 days of 2025 are going to be very important. Like I said, be very bold. Don't be hyper vigilant, because some people will see a 3 of Wands and they'll think like, I have to be aware of every single thing in every moment, as I'm definitely drawing on myself there. But you know, it's like you'll feel as though you need to be aware of everything, and sometimes that can kind of work against you. You could miss details with the 3 of Wands, which when you look at Wands as an archetype or a personality type in the world of tarot, Wands would be the most likely to miss details. They're going to be the least detail oriented. They're going to be the most likely to rush in. They're going to be the most likely to jump to a conclusion. They're going to be the most likely to take an action in some way before, considering it. But that's kind of what they're supposed to do. So it's like, I mean, that's the archetype of Wands. But for you though, you're going to be on lookout. And so anyway, I probably overinterpreted the hell out of that, but and I want to let everyone know I did lose my place in the chat stream. So if you thought you were next, I'm very, very, very genuinely sorry. I'm going to switch over to just grabbing people at random for readings. And so let's keep it going. Let's do a reading for somebody. Who could it be now? Sorry, I was just randomly reading through everybody. Who's being rude? I see Andromeda over there. He says, people do not like here on the planet, then I'm leaving. Rude collective. You know what, though? There is. The collective certainly can be rude, and that will definitely be an experience that we will all get a really good dose of that right now. Oh, anyway. Hang in there, Andromeda. This is serious reading time. It really is. Andromeda, we're going to pull a card for you. Somebody's gonna be like, why are you rewarding negative behavior? We're gonna pull a card for Andromeda just because. Thanks for bringing yourself. Seriously, thanks for bringing you. I'm serious. Like, you bring a fun kind of. I'll just be real. You bring a fun, occasionally toxic, but also very genuine vibe to these hangouts, and I enjoy having you here. And I know you will inevitably tell everyone to fuck off in some way, and it's okay. This card's for you, Andromeda. In 3, 2, 1. Boom. All right. You got a Knight of Pentacles, which honestly, this says you can handle what's happening right now. Knight of Pentacles, you guys, this is the most protected person in the world of tarot. Andromeda, there's things that are going to happen in this world that are going to kill other people, and they'll happen to the Knight of Pentacles, and they're like, bing. Oh, what's this? Just bounced off my armor. You know what I mean? It's like, you're a lot more impenetrable than you might think, and so you really need to receive that, because Knight of Pentacles is way, way tougher. It's just the problem is they don't always get included in things like other people. Well, they're not always. I mean, they just really don't. They don't get included by other people oftentimes. They end up just observing everyone else. They kind of get separated from other people. They tend to be loners. They have a lot of really incredible abilities and things about them. But the problem is that they don't necessarily use it. And anyway, maybe you've got a little bit of that energy. I think you probably do. Most people that do have a lot of Knight of Pentacles energy will usually not necessarily want to admit that they have a lot of it, and not because that's bad or good, but just because Knight of Pentacles probably wouldn't react to certain things. They'll just be like, they'll just kind of sit there, like they're not going to jump into action immediately, which is actually where a lot of Pentacle people get kind of mixed up, is that they will need to jump into action. Pentacles, let's say if you're just in general, you're having a hard time receiving things in your world, that's going to be a sign that you're going to be needing to work with the element of earth, that you can, not to make it cheesy and basic, but honestly connecting with nature. Like if anyone's like, how would I connect with the element of earth? You always talk about connecting with elemental energies. How would I connect with earth? You would literally just go into nature and allow yourself to feel and breathe and connect with the dirt and the trees and everything that's out there. That's probably one of the best ways, manual grounding through the earth. But when you see pentacle people, or you notice at times that there's somewhat of a resistance within you, or you observe other people in a resistant state, and maybe you notice that they share a lot of traits with, say, Knight of Pentacles, or even King of Pentacles, or honestly, the most stubborn being in the entire world of tarot is the Page of Pentacles. Number one most stubborn, Page of Pentacles. They don't want to give any, they're just like, they won't give it up. Knight of Pentacles is very stubborn as well, but if they have a reason, if they can be properly motivated, Knight of Pentacles will rush into action. And so, anyway, I think you got a lot of Knight of Pentacles energy, Andromedan, as you go forward in the days and months and years to come. I think you're going to become more accepting of the many gifts that you had. And anyway, it looks like White Swan's putting somebody in timeout. That's okay. So, go for it. That's rad. I love it. Let's grab some more readings. I'm just gonna go down to the bottom of the very bottom of the chat stream. Who's there at the bottom? Who was it? Oh, it's Paisley Lori Shoe Guy. I very much. Oh, thanks. Thanks for enjoying this. We're gonna pull a card for you. The only reason is because you showed up at the bottom of the chat. You were there at the right time. Every now and then people are like, I didn't even want a reading. So just in case you didn't, this will be for the collective, but we're going to pull a card. So this is for Paisley Lori Shugai. Here we go. There's a lot of drooling happening here. I'm sorry, everyone. It's inevitable. 3, 2, 1. Boom. To start off 2025. Oh, my Lord. Okay, here, pause for a second while I drink this water. And ask yourself, Lori Shugai, what do I think about? Or what do you feel? Everyone that's watching right now, you've received a gigantic coin as your tarot card. I'll explain in a moment. Some of you guys know what this is. Other people don't. But what do you see what do you feel when you see this massive coin? Think about it. What do you feel? Don't worry. Some will get it wrong, some will get it right. It's more about what you feel, even if it doesn't fit in with what I'm about to say. It's more about what you feel, because ultimately, when you really start reading tarot, I'm just going to be real. If you don't already know this, let me tell you a universal truth in the world of tarot. You're going to end up making up your own meanings regardless. When you really embody a path of reading tarot, when you really, really develop yourself into the stage in which you've internalized the cards and you can just pull them out and go, oh, I know what that one's that, and it's this. It's going to be because you've begun to create your own meanings, because you've stopped adhering to the standardized interpretations of everyone's book and everyone's class. That includes me. I'll say it, even me. You have to end up personalizing and creating your own method out of all this. That said, let's get to the meaning. You have an Ace of Pentacles, Lori. That means that this is a stage or a moment in 2025. If you want to make it about cycles, because those are the aces, they're cycles. And this is the cycle having to do with what you receive from the world. Cycles of root chakra. So that's the very bottom of the psychosocial kind of pyramid of needs, safety, abundance, physical needs, the physical world. I'm missing all my old psychobabble terms, but this is, the physical world. And what way do we usually meet our needs in the physical world? It's through money, which is what most people think of when they see pentacles. Which is a great way to think of it. It's also relationships. It's also possessions. It's also desires. It's also things that you value. It's the currency of your desire. So it's money. It's also what you desire at the same time. But when you have an Ace of Pentacles in your life, you're in a cycle of this, or you're coming to the stage of your cycles having to do with abundance, belonging, money, physical body, the element of earth, what you desire, what you're manifesting. You're in a cycle in which, if you, like we said with the Ace of Wands for somebody earlier, if you're willing to make very, very bold choices in what you do with, where you invest yourself right now, you will experience a massive change. And like I said earlier, be careful, because you could do it negatively. It's not guaranteeing that you'll do it positively. You could actually start a negative cycle, but really the idea is to break your cycles, to shatter what everyone believes is an expectation of you, and to honestly play it just as differently as you can. And anyway, in my opinion, I think it's a good thing to have if you're willing to do it differently. And so depends on how you want to interpret that, what it is that you do differently. But one of the easiest ways to imagine it is what you are receiving, what you are manifesting in 2025. And so anyway, that said, we're going to grab one of our super chats over here. Don Rogers at March 4th Production. It was good seeing you the other day. 2025 reading for Kyla. Canadian citizen. Okay, guys, what does Kyla need to just observe or know? What does she need to be made aware of in the year as we begin 2025? Maybe it's not the theme for the whole year. It's just to start it out. What needs to be seen? What can be acknowledged? We ask that you deliver it to us in a way that's simple and easy to understand for those of us in physical bodies. Here we go. Boom. All right. You got a night. There's a lot of nights. Well, there's only 4 nights, but we've had a couple of them already, haven't we? I don't know. Maybe I've been doing a lot of readings. Now that I'm thinking about it, I'm like, this is only the second night we've seen here today, so whatever. But Kyla, you have received a Knight of Cups. And she's very, very, very different from Knight of Pentacles. Oh my Lord. This is emotional energy in motion. This is the messenger of emotion. This is an emotional being on an emotional journey. If you were in a war, this guy would be the guy who's crying alongside everything and somehow writing poetry and talking about everything. And it's like this guy's the most powerful yet also emotion filled being, and his power is based upon the strength and conviction of his emotions. And so he could be very powerful, or he could be completely flat and weak and tepid, we could even say, stagnated in his worst days, or he could be a very stormy sea, which is what he is right here. When he shows up in your life, Knight of Cups is giving you a very simplistic message. If you're wondering, what should I be focusing on? This is the messenger of emotion and emotional intensity. He brings incredible power and strength to the way in which he emotes. And when he shows up in your life, you must be willing to dive deeper into who and what you believe that you are, into the emotional wounds, into the expectations that were unmet, into the deep, deep, deep kind of recesses of your consciousness, where all of your old deepest tendencies and emotional programs, and even those things that you never told anyone from years ago, this or that, or the things that we buried, check it out at the bottom of your ocean. The things that are buried at the bottom of your ocean. Knight of Cups, his job is to go down there and to go, oh shit, what's in here? And then come back up. And which is why he brings a very particular type of power. It's just that he will be ruled by, or he'll be ruined by, or he'll be saved by the strength of his emotion. So when he comes in and you're just going like, what do I do? What am I supposed to do right now? They're like, well, this is a time for emotional expression. This is a time for healing your emotional self. This is a time for healing your emotional wounds. This is a time for, I'm going to make it needlessly cheesy. There's going to be a lot of crying when the Knight of Cups comes out. It doesn't guarantee it, but maybe you will. And if you do, please embrace it, because this guy will bring emotion into your life. They could be stormy. You know what I mean? They could be blissful. But usually what's on the other side of most of your biggest emotional wounds, I'm being totally real with this. I know sometimes I make it kind of like theatrical or needlessly emphatic, but seriously though, what's on the other side of your emotional wounds? Your greatest intuitive abilities. They'll be literally, that is the process where many of the emotional wounds exist within your body, within the chakra body, within the invisible layers of energy that exist within you, also in the physical layers as well. But that's why I was talking about that class earlier on the other website that we can't name. Because when you start to unpack and sort of dilate the energy centers, you'll begin to experience yourself in a new way. And anyway, I would say as a predictive energy, the deeper you're willing to go with the Knight of Cups in your life, the more you're going to understand about yourself. And so go deep, like really go deeper than you've ever gone before. I definitely overread that for you. You know, if there's one thing, you know, I will also do, I will grossly overinterpret every single card. Seriously. But that's also why it's a little bit unique. It's like Voldemort? Really? Oh, the website that cannot be named. Right. Oh, yeah, right. Sorry, I missed that. I was like, what? Okay. No, I mean, like in a cool way. I'm like, yeah, all right, cool. I'll be real. I'm just gonna be honest. You guys, some of you guys will get triggered. I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna expose myself in a strange way. Get ready. If we were in Harry Potter world, damn, I don't even want to say it. All right, I'll say it. If we were in Harry Potter world, I would be Slytherin. I would be. You know it too. You guys know it. Some of you guys will be like, I knew it. He would totally be. I would. I would have been in Slytherin. I would have. You know, there's this other part of me that would have wished I would have been in Gryffindor, but I would. I know. It is what it is. There was good. There's a lot of good people over there, right? There's a lot of good people. But I would have been. I would have been Slytherin. I would have, it doesn't have to shape your, your all of your, morality as like in the wizarding world, you know what I mean? It doesn't mean you're evil, right? But honestly, I totally, dude, you guys know it. Aurora Diamond Heart knows it. Yeah, you would have been Ravenclaw. I definitely agree. Totally, totally. Dean Thorpe would have skipped the sorting. No, really? Dean Thorpe, you would have skipped it? Really? Maybe. I don't know. I think you would. Dean, you feel like a Gryffindor guy. Maybe not. Maybe. Don Rogers would have been under Snape. Andromeda says Ravenclaw. Okay. I could also see that. Yeah. Totally. Honestly, right? See, I mean, and granted, I didn't read all the books, but I do remember eventually Snape died, and I was bummed, man. I mean, really, really, I was. He was a cool guy. I like the actor that did him as well. It's a shame that he died. Selena says, I'm in Southern according to the test, and my animal is a porcupine. I don't know to what you're referring, but I genuinely love that your animal is a porcupine. Seriously, genuinely. I don't know, and I know you're probably not referring to the year of the snake or any of the Chinese zodiac elements, but that is definitely my animal in the Chinese zodiac. I am year of the snake. which would make sense because I was just talking about Slytherin, right? Um, which to me that was cool. I'm just gonna make this dumb, you guys. I only know this because I remember going to this Chinese restaurant that had it on the placemat, and I was like, "Oh, I'm Year the Snake." So how's that? It's the only reason I know that. But let's do another reading. This is for Holland Sass. Hey Matthew, can I get a card for my friend Natalie if there's time? Yeah, this is for Natalie. I hope Natalie's okay. And yeah, we're just gonna connect this energy to Natalie if she has a question. We're gonna pull a general card just to see. For those of you that are working with Natalie, and also for everyone else here, because some of you guys might need to receive this energy, but we're gonna aim it at Natalie, and it might hit a few other people along the way. But here we go. 3, 2, 1, and boom. Well, Natalie and whoever else needs to receive it, you got a Queen of Cups. A few minutes ago, we had a Knight of Cups, right? He's like the emotional messenger. He's like, you got to go deeper and deeper and farther than you've ever gone. And you would look at a Queen of Cups and you'd go, I mean, she's a queen, so I mean, that's cool. But she doesn't look like she's going deeper, right? I mean, I'm not trying to be silly. I'm just saying, like, look, she's on dry land. So she's the most grounded in the world of cups, meaning that, and this is real for Natalie or anyone else to hear it. One of the really cool traits of Queen of Cups is you're going to know shit that other people do not know. We could call it intuition. We could call it a hunch. We could just call it keen observational abilities. But a lot of times, as a person, Queen of Cups will get an idea about stuff and she doesn't really share it. She won't really tell anybody. I mean, look at her. Does she look like she's about to tell everyone stuff? No, she's sitting there with a cup and nobody gets to know what's in it. And that's one of the problems for the Queen of Cups. And that's also one of her great traits. So when you have this as just like an energy that's entering your life, number one, you got to come to terms with the fact that some of your ideas that you've had about the way things are or people in your life, you are right. You're right. I'm not trying to tell you in what areas you're right because it's just one card. You know what I mean? It's like you get to look at it in your own way. But you've been right about something and you got to come to terms with it. And the more that it's hidden within our world, and we're not defining this energy as being hidden for you, I'm just giving you one of the traits of Queen of Cups. Because let's say if there are things that she knows and observes and realizes and has held on to within herself, the Queen of Cups must express them. The mission of the Queen of Cups is to divulge the knowledge of self and understanding and what she's actually amassed in terms of her intuitive capabilities, which are massive. In the world of cups, you guys, they're the most intuitive. That's just the way that it is. From empathic perspective, in terms of feeling emotions. Now, if you want to get into the whole who's the most this or that, honestly, High Priestess, if you want to go down that road, she's the number one psychic just in the world of tarot. That's just how it is. But Queen of Cups is up there from a perspective of pure emotional perception. And so you need to come to terms with also the idea that there's a lot of emotional healing that needs to take place for a Queen of Cups. And if you're wondering, just like, what do I need to focus on at the beginning of the year? And a Queen of Cups is in my life. Number one, realizing you've been right about some things. Number two, realizing that you're holding on to a lot of emotions, sometimes from other people. It's not always a bad thing, but the whole story behind Queen of Cups is whatever she carries in her cup, it'll make her or it'll break her. She might not even know what's in it, but unless she learns to share it with the world, that's her true self, the innermost thoughts, the things that she withholds from others. Unless she learns to share those things with the world, she will be influenced by them forevermore. So it's hard. It's hard. You gotta let stuff out in ways that maybe you haven't. And Queen of Cups is not comfortable with that. Here's another random Queen of Cups detail. In the world of cups, check this out. Queen of Cups is actually the least emotional. She's the least hysterical. she's the least likely to get swept up in a big emotional wave, because you're going to notice that people that have a lot of cups energy, they're going to be very, emotional and lots of feeling and lots of just big just big feelings. And sometimes we would call it even his I cannot say the word histrionic. For those of you guys that are familiar with that term, cups are kind of histrionic. And so anyway, it'll control you, or you'll learn to control that and use it as a gift. But anyway, I could go on and on needlessly, but emotional healing and understanding that we were right, embracing our intuitive capabilities. And yeah, anyway, thanks, Natalie, and anyone else that needs to receive that. We are going to do just a few more here. And we might cut this one off at 12 a.m. East Coast time. Wherever you are in the world, let me know what time it is. If you're in another country, what time is it? I saw somebody here from the other side of the world. I think it was Stoned Hobbit. You were here earlier. Oh, no, there she is. What's up, Stoned Hobbit? Aurora Diamond Heart says, I love what Hagrid, right? Yeah, he had a love affair with the French school headmistress, right? They did. I remember that. That was when they were going to do the Triwizard tournament, right? That was actually the book that I kind of started tapering off with. I read the one after that, but that one was where I started tapering off on the books, and then I just watched a few of the movies after that. But yeah, that was a key stage. Yeah, Jason said it. Alan Rickman, right? Totally. Goldfish Pinky Frame says Ravenclaw. Okay, we got some other Ravenclaw people here. Angel Wings is in the dragon class. You're like, dude, I'm not in no houses. I'm in the dragon zone, which is cool. I'd say go for it. Snake was an amazing and complex character. I hate to say it. I would have been a lot more like Snape. I just know it. I think I would have been a mixture of Snape and the Gary Oldman character, but only because I thought he was cool. You know what I mean? Maybe he's not. He's probably in the blood cult, right? Aren't they all? Anyway, shall we do another reading? Let's see what happens. Stone Hobbit got it on Queen of Cups. She's looking into her scrying cup. Yeah, definitely. That is a very, very rightful piece of interpreted symbolism. Absolutely. Don Rogers says, don't eat mushrooms and watch Harry Potter unless you want to trip balls. That school is crazy AF. You know what I did do back in, okay, let me date myself horribly. I will say this was 1992. And not that anyone should ever do such a thing, but back in the 90s when you used to take like ungodly amounts of LSD, that I would never, ever, ever recommend doing at this stage of my life. I would most likely go completely psychotic for a few months. But, back in those days when, you could ingest a massive dose of, hallucinogens, I had this thing where we would watch Gumby. I had a bunch of Gumby. Well, we didn't have DVDs. We had, remember this? VHS, dude. We had a shitload of Gumby VHSs, and man, dude, Gumby, it was just like it, man. It's like I would love to go back and visit that timeline. Sometimes I have this idea that in an alternate dimension, we get to take an invisible orb and fly back and re-experience things through time, and we get to visit our timelines, and we get to visit other moments throughout time. And I would love to go back and like just view that and be like, what the hell, what was going on? Oh my god. But yeah, I watched a lot of Gumby on LSD in the old days. It's probably why I'm so weird now. Actually, honestly, not. I think that was probably one of the most normal things I could have done at that stage of my life. But anyway, let's do another reading. We're gonna do another reading. We might do two more. It's almost midnight here. Oh, here's one. Hey, thanks. All is one. Thank you for your donation. Any messages for me? Thank you. You rock. Thanks, Allison. Let's pull a card for you. This is for all is one. What does she need to know as we begin 2025 for all is one? Here we go. 3, 2, 1, and boom. Whoa, more cups. What? Wow. All right. You got a page of cups, man. Interesting. So the last 3 characters have been cups characters. One of the things we could say from a collective perspective is when we see a lot of the same suit rolling in over and over and over again, it's giving us a little bit of a mini snapshot of a certain type of energy that we're all processing. And like I was just saying, cups are emotions, the emotional body. It's your self identity, it's your empathy. They're highly, highly intuitive. There's other suits that connect with intuition as well. It's not just cups, but cups are like probably the most empathic. And the reason why I say that is because you have received the biggest empath in the entire world of tarot, which is one of the cool things about learning the cast of characters that comes from multidimensional tarot is you learn they have special traits and they kind of have special abilities, and it is very much like they're characters in a movie, and they're going to be characters in your life. I'm saying this for those of you guys that want to take the tarot class with us. When you learn to build characters out of these, you're never going to forget them. You'll know it for the rest of your life. You'll be like, oh, hey, that's Page of Cups. Man, I'll tell you what, she's the biggest empath in the world. When you have a Page of Cups in your life, if there's a feeling in the room, you're going to catch it. Angry, lonely, sad, you know that. What is it? Hungry, angry, lonely, tired. If anyone around you is even feeling those things, Page of Cups will walk in the room and be like, oh God, you know what I mean? And you'll probably absorb it in some way. And a lot of us have been doing that our entire life because Page of Cups feels everything and they notice everything and they absorb everything and physically they might not necessarily match up to other people on a physical level, but their abilities and their strengths are within the emotional body and the intuitive body, also within the unseen hidden realms and the ways in which we use our sensitivity as human beings to unlock truth. Page of Cups is like one of the most sensitive of everyone. And the reason why I say there's a physical component is because that's where you have to be careful with Page of Cups. When you have this energy in your life, you got to be very mindful of the amount of emotions that you absorb from other people. Because Page of Cups can get autoimmune issues. They can get sometimes, they can pick up illnesses. Yes, psychically, they can absorb them. They can pick up other people's emotions and make them their own. They can absorb other people's traumas, and yes, they'll help them heal it too. They definitely will. But if they don't watch out, they take them upon themselves, and they don't necessarily always get physically sick. Sometimes Page of Cups just gets weird and a little bit crazy, and you know what I mean, and conflicted, and they can't feel things the way that they used to, and they notice how their judgment gets weird, and that's usually a sign that Page of Cups are holding too much energy. They get easily overwhelmed after a while. They get easily exhausted. And that's why you need to connect with water. And this is directly for all is one and anyone else who feels like they have that extreme empathy going right now. Page of Cups says, please connect with water, renew yourself, ritual baths, ceremonial baths, Epsom salt baths. Any of the cleansing powers of water. And lastly, if you're wondering, what should I be doing? Well, cleansing, yes. Connecting with your emotional body, yes. But you must create. She has an artist palette on her belt, and that's a very important piece of symbolism because it says you're meant to be creating something right now. So it doesn't matter how you do it. It's one of the areas where your true power will be shown is in what she creates. And so there we go. Thank you, all is one. I appreciate you. And I want to thank everyone else that has been hanging out with us here today. We have reached the 12 o'clock hour here on the East Coast. And so depending on where you are, it'll be in a very different time zone. But I do want to thank everybody for hanging out here. We're going to be back in the coming week. In the meantime, please do subscribe to this channel if you can hit the like button before we roll out of here. And I want to thank everybody for hanging out in the vaporwave or hold on, what was it? The AI vaporwave dead mall dimension, which is a real place. You can definitely peer into it psychically. I'll say this before we go. I invite you guys to continue to do so in the days ahead. I don't really believe that there's anything we need to hold a lot of fear about right now, whether it be a mystery drone or a strange fog or, whatever it is, or even in what I would call, and this might be a strange statement, even within the enjoyment and the looking into psychically of, stuff like that, like AI created artwork. There's a lot of delusion that's going on, I think, within spiritual and kind of like disclosure communities where it's like, people aren't really opening themselves up to the possibilities because we've been so programmed and just given all this incorrect dogma from influencers and people who I just believe aren't, they're not necessarily looking at the bigger picture. And I would say one of the things we can do at the beginning of 2025 is do not adhere to any of the currently being fed timeline realities. You know what I mean? You're going to watch a number of influencers and cool people on podcasts and shows and live streams just like the one we're on right now over the coming weeks. And everyone is going to tell you, here's what's happening. Here's my remote viewing. Here's my synopsis. Here's my, this is what it really is. The Alliance told me. The Alliance, I spoke with the Alliance last night and they said this is what it is. And we're about to have that. At the beginning of 2025, I believe that one of the greatest things we can do is adhere to none of it, attach to none of it, simply observe, treat everything like the greatest living television show we've ever been watching. Take this time at the beginning of the year to begin to develop some path or some way in which you're going to be perfecting or clarifying or detoxing or strengthening your physical container. I think for a lot of us right now, that is one of the untapped keys and great potentials. Work with the physical body, whether that be the muscles, the organs, the fascia, your teeth. That's the next destination for me. But I believe that's one of the places right now that we have a deep opportunity in, and honestly, just keep doing it, keep showing up, believe in yourselves, and yeah, hit the like button before we roll out of here. We'll see you in the coming week, and I love you guys. Live from the vaporwave dimension. Just be sure not to eat anything. Whenever you're if you do astrally project to the AI dead mall vaporwave dimension, don't eat anything. There's this thing that happens when you're in that dimension where it's like as soon as you eat something, it begins to generate a copy of you, and the AI starts to kind of seed itself within the astral body.